Once again, here I am. Good morning. Coming up in a moment is Edgar E. Cayce, the son of Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet. So much to talk with him about. We will continue through the evening to monitor the anthrax story. We're getting additional information, and as we get it to you, we will get it on the air. So if you monitor here, you're not going to lose out at all. And now a very unusual opportunity to interview Edgar E. Cayce. He is the son of Gertrude and Edgar Cayce, who you may know as the Sleeping Prophet, was born in Selma, Alabama, February 9th, 1918, lives now in Virginia Beach, Virginia, graduated from Duke University in 1939 with a B.S. in EE. Oh, my. Employed in 1940 by Virginia Power as an engineer. Has military service, went to officer candidate school in the Signal Corps. I can see we're going to have a lot in common. Was a captain in the Air Force. Post-war, returned to work with Virginia Power, which is now Dominion Resources, and retired in 1983 after 43 years of service. He has 2 children. He is a registered professional engineer in Virginia, member of the First Presbyterian Church of Virginia Beach, and many more organizations. His published works include Edgar Cayce on Atlantis, The Outer Limits of Edgar Cayce's Power, and The Mysteries of Atlantis Revisited. Here is Edgar E. Cayce. Edgar, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Art.
It is such an honor to have you on. Do you do many interviews?
I did one last week. I don't know as I do so many. I do know now and then.
I barely know where to begin with you. Radio's wonderful. We have the luxury of time with radio, and we don't have to do anything too quickly, or nothing's really pre-planned. So I think what I'd like to do is to ask you everything you can remember about your father.
I don't know whether I programmed long enough for that or not, Art.
Were the two of you close, Edgar?
The whole family was very close, Art. Dad was a very ordinary person in everyday life. He loved to work in the garden. He liked to fish. He liked to play games. He was a very good carpenter. He used to repair shelves and doors, and he built a garage at one house we lived in. It was just those 30 to 40 minutes once or twice a day when he was able to put himself into a self-induced hypnotic trance. So, for all intents and purposes, he'd go to sleep.
How did it begin for him? How did he even realize that he had this?
Well, this all began before my time, Art, so it's sort of hearsay, but I've heard Dad and the family talk about it.
Well, it's good.
He was a young, excuse me.
That's quite right. It's good close hearsay, the best we're going to get, so tell us what they told you.
All right. When he was a child, he had some rather strange experiences. For example, he wasn't a very good student in school, and he was having trouble with his spelling lesson one night. And his grandfather kind of got impatient with him, and finally, my father said, "If you just let me think about it. Let me just study it a minute, and I think I'll know everything." And his father said, "All right," very roughly, and he went out of the room. In about 5 minutes, he came back. Meanwhile, Edgar Cayce had laid down on his head on his spelling book and gone to sleep for 5 minutes. When he woke up, he knew every word in the book and what page it was on, and from then on, instead of a poor student, he became a very bright student.
That was at what age?
Well, that was about when he was in school. I guess that they had school then up through about what would be equivalent to the 7th or 8th grade, the kind of one-room schoolhouse. And
so, in other words, he actually slept on the book and absorbed it.
That's what it sounds like. Later on, when he was a young man working in a bookstore, he lost his voice. He couldn't talk at all. Of course, he wasn't much of a salesman when he couldn't talk.
No.
And all the doctors in town, he'd been to everybody, and none of them seemed to be able to help him.
Sounds like Gordon Michael Scallion.
Anyway, hypnotism was a sort of new fad then, and somebody suggested that why don't you try a hypnotist, that maybe he can give you a post-hypnotic suggestion such that you'll be able to talk when you wake up. Mm-hmm. Well, Dad tried it, and there was a medical doctor, several people in attendance when they tried this experiment, and under hypnosis, he could talk a little bit, but he wouldn't accept a post-hypnotic suggestion from the hypnotist, and when he woke up or came out of his trance, he still couldn't talk. But the hypnotist suggested, he says, you're such a good subject, says, maybe you can put yourself into a hypnotic trance, maybe you can give yourself the suggestion, maybe you'll take it from you instead of me. When Dad was, of course, he was willing to try anything, he laid down and immediately he was able to go to sleep or put himself into a hypnotic trance. He didn't remember anything he said at the time, but he described his condition and said it was due to congestion in the throat. He says, we'll clear this up. And he turned real red, his face got red, his throat got red. He coughed up a little blood and woke up and he could talk. As far as I know, that was the first reading, the one on himself. And, of course, the doctor, there was an MD there, Dr. Ketchum, who said, well, Edgar, if you can do this for yourself, maybe you can do this for some of my patients. Well, Dad was always willing to try to help anyone he could, and he tried giving readings for other people, and he was very successful, some very accurate readings, and that's how he developed, as I understand it, this ability.
About what year would all that have been?
Oh, this was way before my time. Is when he's about 20 years old. It was back in the late 1800s in Kentucky.
The power of healing is one that I believe in very strongly, and that's a remarkable story. He coughed up blood, and he regained his power of speech. In other words, he cured himself.
He cured himself, that's right. That was the first so-called reading. I think the word reading came from lack of a better word to describe what he did.
Well, what he did sounds like diagnosis and treatment.
Well, that's true. That was his the main focus of his reading were the physical readings. He gave over 14,000 of these readings in his lifetime, and about 60% of them were diagnoses of other individuals' physical condition. He didn't actually treat the condition himself, as he did for himself there, but
he did diagnosis.
He did diagnosis.
14,000 of them, Edgar?
Over 14,000. I think it's 14,470 something or something like that. There are copies of these readings at the Association for Research and Enlightenment in Virginia Beach with the doctor's reports and the patient's reports. And, of course, the people who didn't follow them didn't get any results. If people followed them halfway, they got halfway results. And if they followed them in detail, they got excellent results.
By that you mean the diagnosis?
The diagnosis, right.
And then your father would recommend to them a course of action?
That's right. He would suggest a course of treatment. It varied. That was the thing. He didn't stick to any one particular thing. I mean, sometimes he would recommend an operation. Sometimes he would recommend a diet, sometimes even osteopathic chiropractic treatments, which didn't set well with the medical doctors. But sometimes he would describe compounds or herbs that he would give the formula for and to make it up.
In other words, you could probably sense deficiencies of one sort or another in somebody's dietary habits.
It sounded like it.
Yeah. Did your father ever describe the precise way that he was able to discern this, or that it came to him, or was it a mystery to him?
I think it was a mystery to him and to everybody else. Of course, he was asked questions about it, and some of the answers sound as strange as the stuff. He said that this was an ability that he had inherited in a previous lifetime that he had done before. It sounded like an ability or talent that was developed. Now, this idea of reincarnation was something that came up much later in the early 20s. I had been born then, and it was while we were in Dayton, Ohio. Someone suggested, wanted I guess they call it an astrological reading, wanted to know what effect the stars had on a person's life. And he said, well, the stars didn't have as much effect on anybody's life as his previous lifetimes. And he proceeded to describe this person's previous lifetimes and the effect it had on his present life. Now, and when he woke up and heard what he had said, he was as astounded as anyone else because he didn't know anything about reincarnation or karma. He didn't realize that many people in the world believed in it, and that he always said if he ever gave a reading that hurt anyone, he'd never give another. But he never did, and some of the life readings seemed, vocational guidance readings seemed as helpful as some of his physical readings. So
did
he to give them.
Did he get any information on who he had been in a previous life?
I understand he did. It was a long time ago, and there were several previous lifetimes. I don't remember all the details of that now. You can, there's a recent book been written about it, I think, that mentions some of his previous incarnations.
When did you become aware? How old were you when you realized your dad was different?
Well, Art, growing up in a family is a little different than being exposed to this from, all at once from the outside. And when I was real little, excuse me, I thought everyone's father gave readings, I didn't but I guess the first real vivid experience I had with it was a reading on myself. I was about 7 or 8 years old. We'd just moved to Virginia Beach, and I was standing in front of a fireplace in a pair of flannel pajamas. And a spark popped out and set those flannel pajamas on fire, and they burned up just real quickly. And my mother was coming down the stairs with a shirt and grabbed me and wrapped the shirt around the pajamas and put out the fire. But it burned my left leg very badly. I was out of school about 4 or 5 months, and the doctor never looked at it. I asked Dad to please give me a reading. He did immediately and described what to do for it. And
what did you do for it?
Well, it was a number of things. There were fluids to wash it with. I think it was ungentine at that time was one of the for that preparation to put on it for a very severe burn. And as it began to heal later, the skin grew across so I couldn't straighten out my leg. And then he told me what to rub on it, what to do to straighten it out.
Wow.
It did straighten out. I played football, basketball, baseball in high school and college, and it doesn't bother me at all. He even gave me something to remove the scar, and I rubbed it on for a while, and then I decided I couldn't see it, and I didn't really care about it, and I quit doing it. So I still have a scar on the back of my leg, about half as big as the original one, from my ankle to my butt. But,
okay, well, you regarded this then as a normal thing. But at some point in your life, you had to realize Dad's a little bit different than everybody else.
Oh, there's no question about it. And I was one of the things that got me into writing the first book. I'd had a life reading also that, now not every life reading he gave described or mentioned Atlantis. Of the 14,000 readings he gave, about 2,500 of them are these so-called vocational guidance readings or life readings. About 700 of them, maybe almost a third, did mention past incarnations of people in Atlantis. Well, Atlantis was just a myth. It is to many people still. There isn't any proof that it ever existed. Of course, there's no proof that it never existed either. So I thought I could go down there to the association. We have copies of all these readings in the files at Virginia Beach. At that time, they were on microfilm, and just been put on to preserve them. When the Dad gave a reading, a copy was given to the patient and a copy was kept on file. I said I could go down there and maybe look up all the life readings on Atlantis and find some proof that it either existed or didn't exist. At that time, I didn't care which way. I just wanted to know the answer.
Sure.
So I said, well, I could probably do this in a few weeks, and that was a very naive idea. After about a year later, I had read every life reading on Atlantis that I could lay my hands on, and the amazing thing about it was some of these readings given 20 years apart, they didn't contradict each other. And it wasn't that he gave a reading on Atlantis and said it existed. He gave a reading on a person and mentioned an incarnation at Atlantis and told that person's characteristics in life and describe how it affected him now. And by putting all those little pieces together, trying to arrange them in some kind of chronological order, that's what came out of that book. Well, it turned out to be very successful. It came out in '68. It's still in print after 30 years.
And what is the name of it?
Edgar Cayce on Atlantis.
And now,
now we've got an update. The Mysteries of Atlantis Revisited. There have been,
Yes.
When he gave these readings, this was before radiocarbon dating, and many of the statements he made back in the 20s and 30s, when many of them were given, sounded ridiculous because the ideas of geology and archaeology were quite different then than they are now. And when he said that man had been in North America 10,000 years ago or 20,000 years ago, and in South America even longer, that the poles had shifted in the past, and, all kind of things like that, well, it sounded ridiculous. But now with radiocarbon dates of 17,500 in Pennsylvania, 20,000 in California, 35,000 in South America, it's turning out that man was in the places that Edgar Cayce said he was at the time he said he was. So it kind of stands to reason that if, statements like that were true. Well, he made the statement one time, Art, that the Nile River used to flow west into the Atlantic. Well, that was 60 years ago. And, of course, there wasn't any way to prove whether the Nile River flowed into the Atlantic or not.
That's right.
That millions of years ago. But in 1987, when they took the pictures from the space shuttle with the ground penetrating radar with Sahara, it showed that the old course of the Nile was west into the Atlantic, exactly where Cayce said it was.
When you did all this research, and you researched these people who had been said to have prior lives in Atlantis, what kind of proof did you run into, or corroboration, for example, people who may have known each other, or references that could be checked from one person's reading to another person's reading, that kind of thing? Did you?
That was the thing. I call it the internal consistency of the reading. The fact that the one reading didn't contradict another. It was a reading given 20 years later was just like on a different person, was just as if it had stopped and taken up. But
did you find places where they corroborated each other?
Oh yes, about the times that he would very seldom did he mention dates unless somebody asked him, but he did mention two or three. Now the the myth of Atlantis, or the story of Atlantis, originated with Plato back in the 5th century BC, and he described it as he said that Solon, someone had been in Egypt, and the priest in Egypt had described to him this civilization that existed in they called it beyond the Pillars of Hercules, which was the Rock of Gibraltar and another mountain on the other side of the Mediterranean, the entrance to the Mediterranean from the Atlantic. And he said it was beyond the Pillars of Hercules, out in the South Atlantic, and it was a great civilization and very advanced, and that it had been destroyed in a volcanic catastrophe 9,000 years earlier. Well, that put it in the class of a myth, because nobody believed that there had been any civilization that long ago, 9 to 10,000 BC.
That's right.
And since Plato's story, there have been thousands of books and pamphlets written about it. Some of them trying to amass evidence that Plato was right, and some of them trying to prove he was wrong, and some of them try to rationalize the story by moving it to a different location or changing the date. And the thing that convinced me about it was the fact that Dad said that people had incarnations there, and he was so accurate in his physical readings, and he was so accurate in many of his other life readings, describing the characteristics of persons and the kind of occupation they were in, the problems they were having with their family. I mean, the other readings had been accurate. The things he said in the other readings about geological and archaeological events of the past. That
kind of came later, didn't it?
A lot later, of the right? But he has been so accurate in that. Why, maybe there's some truth in this Atlantis story.
Maybe there is. I think that your father suggested there would be something called the Hall of Records found beneath the left paw of the Sphinx. Is that correct?
That was mentioned in a reading, right?
When your father went under, he was called the sleeping prophet, but from what you've told me, it sounds more like he was the self-hypnotized prophet who would go into a sort of a hypnotic trance.
Well, that's true, and I don't really think of him as a prophet, Art. I think I know he didn't really go to sleep and say that this is going to happen and that's going to happen. He always said that the future's not fixed; that we can change it.
That we can change it.
And that's I think it's a hopeful statement rather than something that's inevitable. But he did mention these things that had happened in the past, and when the scientific evidence turns up for a pole shift in the past, when scientific turns up evidence for climatic changes in the past at the times he said they were, and men being in the earth at the times he said they were, and the fact that man had been in the earth instead of a few 100,000 years, millions of years.
Mr. Cayce, we're going through all these things now. We're at a break point, so hold on, relax. You've got a good 10 minutes. We'll be right back to you. Edgar E. Cayce, the son of Edgar Cayce, is my guest. I'm Art Bell, and this is Coast to Coast AM. Once again, here is Edgar E. Cayce, the son of Edgar Cayce, known as the Sleeping Prophet. Mr. Cayce, welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Art.
Sir, I'm curious, how old were you when your father passed on?
Well, he passed away in 1947, into World War II. I was about 27.
27. So by that time, you were fully aware of your father's abilities, differences, talents.
Oh yes, I used to listen to readings when I was growing up for other people, and I knew what he did, and I guess nobody knew how he did it. But
Edgar, when did he begin to get visions of Earth changes? At what point in all these readings did that begin to happen?
Actually, I think it came over a period of time. I think he didn't really make a lot of prophecies, but he made statements in readings all the way from the early 20s on up till the time he died. And so some of these statements were years apart. Some of them were, fairly recent, in the 40s, 35s, and 40s.
Well, when he referred, for example, to pole shifts, was he referring to the fact that the poles had previously shifted, or did he know they would shift again, or both?
I think both. I think mostly it was about past pole shifts, and that sounded like a wild idea when he first mentioned it. But
not so wild today.
Not now. No, there's scientific evidence that the poles have shifted.
I've got to ask you to stay good and close to your phone, because our connection could be a lot better.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to talk a little louder.
Oh, that's excellent. Absolutely excellent. What else, other than pole shifts, did your father see coming for our world? Did he really look ahead at any point and give us any indication of what's coming?
Well, he always said, Art, that the future is not fixed, that people can change it. He did mention one thing that we have some scientific corroboration of, and speaking about future earthquakes, he mentioned some particular areas in the United States. The largest earthquake in the United States was not in California, but in
Missouri.
Missouri, right. Well, he mentioned these particular areas, and some 25, 30 years after that reading was given, there was an organization, the American Association of Engineering Societies, that made a study of the fault zones in the eastern United States, and they published maps of these areas, and in fact, we have them in our book, Mysteries of Atlantis Revisited. There's a chapter in there dealing with the earthquakes, and we got permission to publish these maps of the fault zones, and the interesting thing about it, they were exactly the same areas that Cayce mentioned years ago, and the unsettling thing about it is that this organization concluded that the likelihood of a major earthquake in the eastern United States in the next 25 years, this was published in 1987, was 100%. So that's pretty near certainty.
That's pretty near certainty.
They don't know where or which area is going to be affected, but these areas were exactly the same ones that Cayce mentioned. So I hope they're both wrong.
Did he ever describe to you when in trance, when in self-hypnosis, or rather how he would visualize things. Would he actually see them? Would these things come to him as a simple knowledge, or a voice, or in what manner was information imparted? Did he ever talk about that?
My brother and I wrote a book about that, Art, The Outer Limits of Edgar Cayce's Power. In fact, it dealt with the readings that were wrong. Everybody talks about Cayce's accuracy and how good he was, and he was accurate. But we thought that we could find there were some readings that seemed to be inaccurate. And we found maybe 150 to 200 out of the 14,000. Of course, that gives him still a pretty good percentage.
It sure does.
9.99 or something like that. But anyway, we thought that you could learn as much about psychic ability in general, and Edgar Cayce in particular, as by studying these ones that were wrong. I mean, where did he get his information? My brother...
And in what manner,
in
again?
In what manner, yeah. No. I think there are probably at least four sources of psychic information. I think what applied to Edgar Cayce probably applies to any psychic. He was just especially a good one. But one would be unconscious memory. That is, everything you've ever thought or read or heard is somewhere in your mind, though you don't maybe remember it consciously all the time. He could tap that source. Another one would be telepathy. That is, the communication of his mind with the mind of another individual, either living or dead.
And either in close proximity or on the other side of the world.
That's right. Of course, you would only know in that case what that other person knew. If you were trying to diagnose someone, I suppose unconsciously or subconsciously, that person, all the reactions in the body of the person he's diagnosing, if subconsciously that person knows what's wrong with him, maybe he doesn't consciously know, but all the reactions are there, and if you could communicate with his mind, subconscious mind, you could give a beautiful diagnosis of what his trouble was.
Mr. Cayce, there are many who might suggest what your father did is the ancient equivalent of what's now known as remote viewing.
Well, that's another source that would be that, clairvoyance. That is, seeing things at a distance. Not in every reading, but in some readings, he would say, well, there's a beautiful rooster. This man has a beautiful rooster in his yard. Or he's looking at a rose bush, or he's arguing with his wife.
That's very...
an accident outside. And
very specific.
In every case, we never found him to be wrong in a case like that. We always would try to call up the person or write the person and say, do you have a red rooster, or were you arguing with your wife, or what were you doing at the time? And we never knew him to be wrong in a case like that.
Then might I suggest to you then that you mentioned when he was wrong, the few times, percentage-wise, that he was wrong. He said himself that not all that he saw would necessarily come true. In other words, we are not bound in some horrible little dance of what the future is going to be inevitably.
Right. Let me give you an example of that. That brings us to the fourth source. There's two ways of looking at this source. Some people think there's such a thing as the Akashic records. That is, that everything that happens in the world leaves a record in time and space. And if you could tap this source of information, you'd have great infinite knowledge.
Yes.
Another way of looking at it is to think of it that we live in a third-dimensional world. For example, if you take a point and move it in a direction not contained within itself, you get a line. That's one direction, one dimension. It's infinitely long, but it has no width.
Yes, sir.
You move the line at right angles to itself, you get a plane, two-dimensional. It has no thickness, but it's infinitely long and wide. You move the plane at right angles to itself, you get a cube, three-dimensional world. That's the kind we live in.
Right.
Suppose you could move that at right angles to itself, a direction not contained within itself. We can't conceive of that.
You would then be moving in another realm or dimension.
Well, suppose we moved it in time, in space. Suppose it existed yesterday, today, and tomorrow, and that we're only conscious of the present. If Dad could somehow move into this other dimension, let me give you an example. Suppose we have a plane, a two-dimensional plane, has no thickness, but it's infinitely long and wide, and we have a two-dimensional bug crawling in this plane in a little sine wave pattern, and he has a free will, he has a memory. He remembers where he was, He knows where he is. He knows nothing about the future. You're sitting up here looking down on this plane. You see where he's been. You see where he is. You see everything that could possibly happen to him in the future, and you see it all at once. Now, he could never understand how you could see his past and present and future all at once because he has no concept of this third dimension, height. But if he has a free will, you could look at him and say, well, now, if you continue in the way you're going at 3 o'clock tomorrow, you'll be right over there, and you'd be right. But since he has a free will, he could decide to go off in another direction, to change his sine wave pattern and go somewhere else. You could see everything that could happen to him and what would be most probable, but you couldn't be sure what he was going to do.
Well, I sure hope your father was right.
Well, I hope so too. Well, this way, if the past and present and future all exist at once, and the future exists as probabilities, and he could see what was likely to happen, but he couldn't be sure because it depends on what people do. And of course, it's a little more complicated with millions of people than with one little bug, but you get the idea.
I do. Also, it was said that your father, when he would go into trance, when he'd come out of trance, out of a particularly difficult viewing, and that this became worse as the years went on, it would drain him physically, make him weak.
Well, what happened, Art, normally he would give 1 or 2 readings a day. That is, it took a certain amount out of it. It wasn't exactly like physical exercise, but I suppose it was a mental strain in a way. And when he became popular, when the book There's a River came out, and he became popular overnight, people began to call him in the middle of the night, kind of like this conversation, but they would say, my wife is dying, my daughter's dying, doctors can't help her, can't you do something for her? Please give her a reading. And he got hundreds of those requests. He had to have the phone number, get an unlisted number. They brought the mail there in trucks. And he couldn't not help people. He felt like it's something he had to do. Instead of giving 1 or 2 readings a day, he started giving 4, 5, 6, 8, 10. I mean, it was too much of a strain. In fact, he had a breakdown, and he had a reading on himself, and it just said that you are trying to do too much. If you continue to do this, you'll kill you. And he continued to do it, and it killed him.
He was, I'm sorry, how old was he at his death?
67, I believe.
67. That's actually fairly long-lived for those times.
Right.
Not a bad age. What is your current age, sir?
I had my 80th birthday last week.
You're 80 years old.
How about that?
Oh, congratulations. Oh, that's really something. Your father obviously passed on to you some good things and some strong genes.
Well, I hope so for a while.
Did he pass on to you anything else?
Well, of course, I had life readings. I don't talk about my personal readings, but I think they were very accurate. They've helped me.
Did he pass on to you any inherited ability?
I don't have any psychic ability. Art. The only thing I can remember, I had a dream once I was eating a giant marshmallow, and when I woke up, the pillow was gone. I was kidding, but I don't. I really don't have any psychic abilities.
What has it been like? You're now 80. What has it been like, sir, living with what your father was all these years? It surely has changed your life and shaped and affected your life completely.
Well, I think it does. I mean, he suggested, for example, where I should go to school. He even said, you could get a scholarship. Said, go to Duke and study engineering. He said, now, I graduated from a little high school that had 28 people in its graduating class in Virginia and Beach, and the chance of getting a scholarship from a small school looked up at chances of a snowball in hell. But I was valedictorian of the class, but that's a small school, and I put in for a scholarship, and I got it. So he was right about that.
And then you proceeded.
I've enjoyed engineering. I think it's not, you don't get rich, but I think you have a satisfying life. That is, if in my case, if you're happy in what you're doing, happy in what the kind of work you do, I think that's the important thing, not how much money you make. But.
Well, you were an engineer, so you were in the hard sciences.
That's right. That's a long ways from psychic research.
Sure is. Was that difficult for you at times? I am into electronics, and yet I deal with this kind of material on the radio.
Well, I had a kind of a dual ratio there. I mean, I was living in a family with a man who was probably one of the most remarkable psychics in this country, and I watched it every day. I mean, I just tell you an example of a reading, some of the kind of things that would happen to be kind of curious. I used to listen to him as I was growing up, and he had a reading one time on a man that was supposed to be in his apartment in New York, and the mother gave him some suggestion and said, "You will have before you the body of so-and-so who at this address in New York." All he had to know was the person's name and where he would be at the time of the reading. Well, he lay there for a minute, and he said, "He's not here." Said, "He's coming across town on a bus." Said, "There's a lot of traffic, the bus is late." Said, "We'll wait." He lay there for 15 minutes, didn't say a word. All of a sudden, he said, "He's come in." And he proceeded to give the reading. At that time, my brother got up, went in the other room, called the man on the telephone. The man said, "That's exactly right." Said, "I knew I was supposed to be in my apartment. I was on my way there. There was a traffic accident or something. The bus was late. I just this minute walked in." Now, there's a beautiful piece of clairvoyance that I don't see how anybody could have foreseen.
Did it ever scare you?
I don't know if it ever scared me. It made you think a lot of times.
Really hard. I wonder how a young man who's becoming an engineer was able to square all of this. And were there times the early years in your education when you would reject or just simply couldn't believe, or did you always simply understand what your father did was a normal thing for you?
I don't know if I considered it normal. I realized it was pretty abnormal, but I had seen it work in so many cases. I grew up with it, and he had people that were successful, had readings that were so successful for people. They had remarkable cures. They suggested vocations for people who succeeded in them after, and they'd take up this occupation or this, you would be good in this or something like that. And this had happened. It happened to me, and it happened so many times that, you had faith in it. You thought that you knew that he was right. You knew he was accurate. Now, I don't know how. That was one of the reasons we wrote this book, this Mysteries of Atlantis Revisited, that it showed the archaeological and geological discoveries that have happened in the recent past to show how accurate he was. I mean,
you are a very devout Christian, obviously. Was your father?
Yes, he was. He taught Sunday school in the Presbyterian Church, and my brother and I both did too, as a matter of fact, here in Virginia Beach.
Were there conflicts between his religion and the fact that he was a prophet, and we all know what it says of prophets in the Bible, that they've got to be completely accurate or they're false prophets, and there must have been those accusations?
Well, a lot of people didn't know what Dad did here. When we first moved to the beach, it was a very small little fishing village. It wasn't the resort it is today. And most people thought he was a doctor. They used to call him Dr. Cayce. And they really didn't know what he did. And he was a very normal person in everyday life. And most of the people, except someone who had had a reading, well, they knew him as in everyday life. They knew what a good carpenter he was, what a good gardener he was, and knew what a nice person he was. And he devoted his life to helping people.
Mr. Cayce, we're at the bottom of the hour. We'll do just 30 more minutes, and I'd like to open the lines and let some of my audience ask you questions, if that'd be all right.
Certainly.
There
is a number that people can call that...
Okay, hold on to that. We'll get it on right after the bottom of the hour. Edgar E. Cayce is my guest. This is Coast to Coast AM. Once again, here I am. My guest is Edgar E. Cayce, the son of Edgar Cayce, known as the Sleeping Prophet. Mr. Cayce is 80 years of age. This is a very rare opportunity for you to ask a question. If you have one, you know the phone numbers. Here we are. We'll get back to them in a moment. All right. Once again, Edgar E. Cayce. Mr. Cayce, of your father, how much is currently today myth versus what really happened?
I guess it's a lot of books have been written about him, Art. Probably the best one is There's a River by Tom Shagrew, who was my brother's roommate in college. That's an account of how he started his work, and Tom, in fact, I helped carry Tom upstairs when he had gone from 180 pounds down to about 90, and the doctors told him to go somewhere and die. There wasn't anything they could do for him. He was paralyzed from his neck down. He couldn't move a finger. And he followed the treatments and the readings Dad gave, and he wrote the book when he got well. He never got so he could walk without crutches, but he did get up to the point he could go back to his job with the American Magazine and Herald Tribune newspaper.
So would you say the majority of what we know, or what we can certainly read in that book, is accurate and not myth?
Well, I guess it depends on who you read, what you read. The fact that he was a prophet, I think, is a little exaggerated. I know he did say some things about the future that, and about the past that have certainly been proven accurate.
Well, one of the things he said was that there would be a hall of records found beneath the left paw of the Sphinx. Now, I interviewed the director of antiquities, Zahia Was, not long ago, and he answered in his normal, a very boisterous Egyptian accented voice. There has never been one grain of sand found here to show that there is anything that would relate to Atlantis. And that's what he said. But on the other hand, Mr. Cayce, there are radar records, ground-penetrating radar now, showing that there are chambers beneath the Sphinx.
There are records showing that there are certainly anomalies. Whether they are chambers or not hasn't been proven. You know, getting permission to dig beneath the Sphinx is kind of like going to Washington and said, I'd like to dig a hole under the Jefferson Memorial or the Lincoln Memorial or the Washington Monument.
Very much like that, yes.
It's, it's the national treasures. You can't just go over there and dig where you want to. Maybe they just haven't dug deep enough. There are some interesting things. I don't know whether Zahia Was mentioned this or not. In fact, it upset a lot of the archaeologists. But Professor Schock he was a Yale-trained geologist. His specialty was rock weathering. And he went over to Egypt and looked at the base of the Sphinx. And he said that the weathering was definitely water weathering. It was not wind and sand weathering.
That's correct.
The person that would know, and he presented his findings at a geological convention in California.
As a matter of fact, there have been sea incrustations removed from the rear side of the Sphinx, sir.
Well, I know that the weathering there was, he says that it's water, and if it was, that means the Sphinx is much older than they thought. In fact, the work that the ARE did and sponsored in carbon dating the pyramids. Of course, you can't carbon date stone, but you can carbon date fiber or bugs or any kind of plant that's gotten in the mortar. And the interesting thing about it was they wouldn't let us take any samples from inside the Great Pyramid, but they did let us take stuff from the outside. Well, it turned out that the pyramid was several hundred years older than they thought, which means that the pharaoh they thought built it didn't, or else he lived a lot earlier than they think, and that really upset the Egyptologists. In fact, the blocks at the top turned out to be 300 or 400 years older than the ones at the bottom. Well, now, it wasn't built from the top down, so that would indicate that probably were repairs made to it. And if that was true, then it must be much older than they think it is.
Boy, would I like to have you in the same room with Zahia Was. All right, let's go to the phones and say, first-time caller line, you're on the air with Edgar Cayce. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hi.
My name is Martha.
Where are you, Martha?
In Kentucky. I'm really glad to talk to you, Mr. Bell, because I listen to your show all the time,
Thank you.
And it's really great.
Thank you.
In fact, I've sent you a few
Messages.
Yes.
All right. Do you have a question for Mr. Cayce?
Yes, I would like to talk to Mr. Cayce. I got to know the ARE when my sister had psoriasis really bad, and nobody could fix it. And, of course, every doctor has, 10 different reasons why you would have psoriasis.
Sure.
And I'm a registered nurse, so I went to the ARE to get help for her. And, in fact, she was healed. And Edgar Cayce had these things that he said you should do for psoriasis, and it got better.
So then a lot of, Mr. Cayce, a lot of the things that your father said as he took readings then later applied to other people in some way, in some
Yes, other people.
way?
That psoriasis, Martha, that psoriasis is a good example. In fact, there's a doctor up in Pennsylvania, I believe, that has treated a number of people by putting together a lot of the readings that Edgar Cayce gave on people with psoriasis and making up a sort of regimen of treatment. And he's had great success in, as you say, curing people who have psoriasis.
You told us there was a phone number that you had that people could call.
There is an 800 number. If anybody's interested in knowing more about the readings, the Association for Research and Enlightenment in Virginia Beach does have a record of them. The number is 1-800-333-4499. And they can either call that number or they can write the association or the Edgar Cayce Foundation at 67th and Atlantic Avenue, Virginia Beach, 23451.
Will the Cayce Foundation continue?
I'd like to think so. There is an organization that probably has 25,000, 30,000 members in the United States and many members overseas in other countries, and the purpose is to preserve the records that Edgar Cayce gave and make them available for study. And one thing that, as you pointed out, as Martha pointed out, one thing that can be done is people can come there and look at it and see if there are any suggested treatments for ailments similar to what they have that might be useful in their case. Of course, most of these readings were for individuals, and what might apply to one person might not apply to another.
Did your father tackle diseases that were in fatal final stages, cancers, heart problems, that sort of thing?
Sometimes he would say, that there's nothing that can be done for this person. That,
he would.
All gone.
He would. He would say, he would virtually tell people they were going to die.
Yes, and that just, you could suggest ways to make them comfortable, but he said that, there's nothing, it's too late.
Did your father ever tell you, Mr. Cayce, where he thought his power came from?
I don't think he knew. He had life readings on himself that said it was developed in a former life, in former lives. I think the sources that we talked about a few minutes ago, I think they apply, and I think he probably used a number of them. There's the rest of that chapter had on the nature of psychic perception in the book had some reasons for why sometimes they work better than others. The fact that the attitudes and the purposes and the reason for the reading seem to affect it. I know for a fact if Edgar Cayce were physically ill, or if he had a bad cold, or if he'd had a stomach ache, if he'd had the flu, or if he were emotionally upset about something, that he didn't get as good a reading as he would when he was perfectly healthy. So certainly his physical health did affect the accuracy of some of the readings. I think there's such a thing, I guess you could call it psychic static, that, sometimes you don't always get perfect radio or perfect television reception due to a thunderstorm or leaking ignition on a car or a transmission line or something that bothers the reception. I think there's maybe a psychic static like that. In other words, the purposes of the reading. Dad wanted to help people. If you had a woman with a child who wanted to get well, was sick, the woman wants the child to get well, the child wants to get well, Edgar Cayce wants to help the child get well. Usually there's a sort of empathy between them that is conducive to a very good reading.
All right.
Sometimes if somebody comes up and says, well, I'm looking for an oil well or a gold mine, and I'll give you a little bit of it if, we find it. What's their purpose? It's a selfish purpose. They're not trying to help themselves.
I was just about to ask you about that. Whether he had been approached in that manner, whether people, and whether he in fact even used what he had to at times enrich himself.
I don't think he tried to enrich himself. He didn't. In fact, when in the story that again it happened before my time, but in Kentucky. He would be asked questions in some of the physical readings. Somebody at the end of the reading would say, well, now, who's going to win this horse race? Or what's going to happen to the stock market? And he would answer, much to the person's profit. But when he woke up, he wouldn't feel well. He would have headaches. He would feel nauseous. He just realized that something was wrong, and he couldn't figure out what it was. And when he found out what was happening, he got very mad. He packed up and moved his family from Hopkinsville to Selma, Alabama, where I was born, and just opened a photographic studio, quit giving readings.
So over that exact issue.
Exact issue. And when my brother was burned with some flashlight powder, he began giving readings again. He gave a reading on him, and it was remarkable. The doctor said he was going to lose his sight, and they wanted to take out one eye to save the other, and they didn't have to, and it was one of the first uses of tannic acid for burns. And he then got well, and Dad started giving readings again. But from then on, my mother was the one who conducted the readings or gave him the suggestion for him. It was someone he could trust that, wouldn't stick in these questions about gold mines or oil wells or whatever, and he was able to continue successfully from then on.
Mr. Cayce, is there anybody in today's world, in the modern world, that you would consider to be the equivalent of your father?
He then went all over the world studying psychics and meeting them, and he never found one that was as accurate as Cayce was over his longer period. There are many people in this country and all over the world that have varying degrees of psychic ability, but I don't know anyone who has the track record of Edgar Cayce. I mean, he gave thousands of readings over a period of 20 or 30 years, and we have the records of them there. I mean, people can come down there. The library is open. It's free. You can come and look at the readings and look at the reports and see what he said, and we're not trying to hide anything. In fact, we're trying to make it available for use.
But, Mr. Cayce, still today, then, your father's power, where it came from, why he had it, we know how he used it, but all the rest, we don't know any more today than we did the day he did the first reading.
That's probably true.
All right, Wildcard Line, you're on the air with Edgar Cayce. Good morning.
Good morning, Art. And Mr. Cayce, it's truly a great honor. I have a deep amount of respect for your father. I've read pretty much everything I can find on the man. I would suggest that everybody visit your organization's website.
Where are you, by the way, sir?
East Coast, near Washington.
Washington, D.C., all right. By the way, Mr. Cayce, there is a website, is that correct?
I believe he is. I don't have the email address of it now.
Okay, well, I think my caller does. Caller?
It's www.are-cayce, that's CAYCE.com. And when I say dash, it's a hyphen, so it's ARE-Casey.com.
Got it. Do you have a question?
It really is terrific. I've spent a great deal of time in there researching.
All right, we'll have a link up in minutes.
Quick questions real quick?
Yes.
Let me just throw them out real quick. A, is it possible that Atlantis itself is buried beneath the sand at Giza, hence the pyramids, the Sphinx, and so on, are actually the remnants above what may be the city beneath? Secondly,
I don't think so. He didn't say that. He said that Atlantis was located in the South Atlantic, that there were records of Atlantis buried in Egypt. In fact, he said there were some buried in 3 places in the world, some in South America, Yucatan, and some in Egypt, and some under the ocean.
Well, with regards to his Rata previous life,
yes.
Which some people have interpreted as having been that Cayce himself in the previous life placed the records in the Hall of Records. Was there anything further on that? And interestingly, also, his suggestion that the Earth changes would culminate in 1998 has always struck me as suggesting perhaps that they would, in effect, kick in and culminate with a major release of that energy in 1998, which, of course, is today.
He did mention 1998 as an important year, but again, he said the future's not fixed. You know, we can change it. I don't really know what's going to happen.
Anything on alien civilizations? There's been some suggestion by finds on Mars, which have some relationship to Giza, that other previous civilizations, perhaps the Sumerians, were descended from the Anunnaki, a race from another planet. Was there ever anything as far as reincarnation from another species or any information about that at all?
As far as I know, there are no references in the readings to aliens coming to Earth in other civilizations. Dad did say there was life in the universe in myriad forms. Of course, there's lots of stars out there, lots of galaxies, and there's bound to be life of other kinds somewhere else. But he didn't mention any of them coming to Earth as far as I know.
Well, thank you very much, sir. Once again, it's a great honor.
All right, thank you very much. And east of the Rockies, you're on the air with Edgar E. Cayce. Good morning. Where are you, please?
Good morning. I'm east of the Rockies in Art. My name is Elliot.
All right.
Good morning, Mr. Casey. Good morning, Mr. Bell. I believe by telling you where I was from last time was the reason my call was disconnected. But we'll talk about that some other night.
No, I don't disconnect people for geologic locations. Anyway.
I'm not saying that you did.
I'm
saying that something else did.
Okay. MIBs. All right.
Okay.
Do you have a question?
Yes, I do. I've heard from friends of mine who have a high-level position in the government that there will be a pole shift taking place.
Oh.
And it will be happening, and I was given a rough estimate around the year 2005.
All right. There are many who believe that, Mr. Casey. Did your father project or tell anybody when he thought the next pole shift might occur?
I don't remember any specific examples of that. He did say there might be changes in 1998 on up through 2000. He didn't say exactly what kind, and he didn't. I think there may be. I mean, I don't know, but here again, it's we can change that, even physical changes.
Mr. Casey, as you look around today's world and listen to today's news with anthrax and wars and social disruption and so much that has changed in our society, would you think your father to be pretty much on track with regard to predicted changes for beginning in 1998? I mean, is that the way the world looks to you?
Well, the media plays up a lot of the exciting things or the bad things. There's a lot of good folks out there, and a lot of good things happening other than anthrax and people trying to destroy the world. But we have, I know we have, I think, done a lot of things that we could do better, and hopefully people will change their attitude and about things in the future and not get us into these situations that might lead to our own destruction.
You're a hopeful man. West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Edgar Cayce and Not a Lot of Time. Hello.
Yes, this is Steve from San Diego.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to talk to you, Mr. Casey. Quick preface, your father's legacy followed me around for about 5 years as a teenager before I finally got around to reading the biography. But wanted to know, in the biography there are two paranormal experiences that or powers that were mentioned for your father as a child. One was that he could put books for his schoolwork under his pillow and read them at night while he was asleep, and the other was that he had sprite or pixie type of play friends.
All right, Mr. Cayce?
Of course, this was before my time, and these are stories I've heard, that he could see people when he was a child that other people couldn't see. He had playmates that other people couldn't see, but he did have that experience of being able to memorize, or by sleeping on a book, just memorizing the contents, and he did turn from a poor student into a very good student with that ability.
Mr. Cayce,
Again, this was before I was born, so I can't testify. I understand that a lot of stories have been told about that, and I've heard Dad tell it.
Mr. Cayce, do you have children?
Yes.
Do they have any abilities?
As far as I know, they do not. They have some good abilities, but they're not psychic.
Both of them,
my son graduated from Duke as an electrical engineer. My daughter graduated from Ohio State in psychology, a major in BS in psychology.
Boy, what a pleasure it has been to have you on the program. I know it's getting mighty late back there.
Well, I guess, it's getting mighty early. It's about 5 minutes to 4 here.
All right, Mr. Cayce, I'm going to say thank you, and I hope one day I'll have an opportunity to interview you again. You're a class act. Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you, Art, and I hope you got a copy of my book. And
I did. I surely did.
Well, I hope you get the chance to read it sometime and enjoy it, and I've enjoyed being on your program. Thank you for having me.
Good night, Mr. Cayce.
Good night.
That's Edgar E. Cayce. From the high desert, this is Coast to Coast AM. From the high desert in the great American Southwest, I bid you all good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be across the globe, all 24 time zones. I'm Art Bell, and this is Coast to Coast AM. That period of time in the year between Christmas and the New Year. And yes, by the way, I will be here on New Year's Eve. You bet I'll be here. So we'll bring in the new year together, and we will do predictions up through the end of that program, and then they're cut off until the following year. It is tradition. So tonight,
we devote entirely, as well as tomorrow night and Monday, to your predictions for the coming year. And it should be a whopper. It really should be a whopper, considering all that has gone on and is going on. My, what a year I'm sure we've got ahead. By the way, I want to thank everybody for the logo submissions. We'll run this through tomorrow and then stop it and sit down and look at them all. We're getting gazillions of them, and thank you all, very talented people out there. It'd be fun to go through them and sort of compare against what we've got and see where we are. But boy, they came flooding in, I'll tell you. All right, now, what is going on now? The big news, the top news, actually, isn't Osama this time. It's India and Pakistan. The situation is becoming really dangerous. Ordered diplomatically on Thursday, ordering half of each other's embassy folks sent home. Both countries banned any overflights between their two countries. The situation is getting worse and worse and worse, and both of these countries have nuclear weapons. Not a lot of them, but with nukes, you don't need a lot. They both have them, and I believe they both have the will to use them, and that's probably more important than the simple possession. They would use them. They say, at least one of them, that they would do everything to try and not use nuclear weapons, but that's not the way war works. When you actually go to war, you use whatever you have. And my guess on whether India and Pakistan would refrain from dipping into the nuke arsenal if they actually got into a real serious war, I'd say that the chances of their not doing that are slim and none. We're going to take the Afghan prisoners we have, the Taliban prisoners. Guess where? Cuba. Guantanamo in Cuba. And that's very interesting. Apparently, they're not going to have military tribunals at Guantanamo. It will take weeks to get the base ready for the detainees, but what we're going to do with them, very, very unclear. That girl who was lost and feared dead, and they had pretty much given up, has been found safe in West Virginia. There is a kidnapping charge being filed, so that's pretty good news, actually, because they really thought she was lost. Says goodbye to Mayor Giuliani, heard his voice in the news at the top of the hour, and I wonder if he could be a presidential candidate. In the news at the top of the hour, he sounded like a presidential candidate, if you ask me. But we'll see. On Bin Laden, we've got this tape they think was made in mid-December, perhaps. Not very long ago, and appears to be Bin Laden. An interesting story on the climate. This is, let me see, where has this come from? Who, but I think it came from elsewhere, actually. I suppose I'll get to it. Friday, December 28th. Countries around the world were trying to cope with a climatic catastrophe as a big freeze chilled Europe and North America. Brazil recovered from torrential rains, bushfires blazing in an Australian heat wave, and the Saudis are actually now praying for rain. North America plunged into the throes of a very intense cold front that buried Buffalo, New York, in 3, maybe coming 4 feet of snow. We're on the air in Buffalo. Sure would be interesting to hear from Buffalo. In Europe, the chill has claimed hundreds of lives. A winter cold snap in Poland has claimed 178 lives since October, according to local police there, a figure well above the previous year. Authorities in Bulgaria declared a state of emergency in the northeast of the country after the worst snowfall in 30 years. That's where 3 more people died in the intense cold. In Russia, normally no stranger to bitter cold, Moscow authorities say 3 people have died in sub-zero temperatures. The southern hemisphere in real trouble with heat. Australia Brazil, massive mudslides triggered by torrential rain in Rio de Janeiro are beginning to engulf homes, claiming at least 50 lives there, leaving 2,000 homeless. Saudi Arabia, thousands of people are filling the country's mosques to pray for rain, as they there blame the drought on sin and corruption. Saudis have twice already offered up rain prayers this year, but with little apparent success. Most northern and central regions have remained dry, and southwest areas of the kingdom have had very little rain. Meteorologists are saying the forecast is going to be more drought next year. Bad news. The spate of extreme weather across the globe comes as many scientists warn that populations are going to have to get used to increasing incidences of drought, searing heat, icy cold, and flooding, which they say characterize the so-called greenhouse effect. Climatologists are warning that a trend of increasing global temperatures is not the only phenomena from the effect they blame on a buildup of greenhouse gases. So, everywhere now across the globe, I'm getting a story like this every night. It is obvious we are going through a climate change. Now, in order to try and stay non-political, because, talking about global warming is intensely political, I don't think it matters. It's a fact. Whether it's a cyclic thing, and the Earth, simply because of the sun or whatever you want to imagine, goes through this massive change, or whether it's the hand of man affecting that change to some degree or even no degree. The fact of the matter is, the climate around the world, not just here, around the entire world, is in the middle of a change. It could be a fast, rapid change. We've really got to face up to that possibility. Even the mainstream scientists are finally beginning to admit that that's what we might be in for, and this could be the opening round, the opening shots of that. Or on the more benign side, it could be a simple, slow, and I don't mean to oversimplify global warming, but a slow warming, because very small temperature changes make very big changes in the kind of weather the world gets, and it's getting pretty bad. What some scientists think, it's going to get a lot worse. When you think you've heard everything, comes a story proving to you you haven't. This came, I think, somebody plucked it from the Drudge site, originally by Cecilia Vega and Jeremy Hay, Press Democrat. And is, plane takes off from Two Rock Ranch without pilot. Apparent unmanned airplane broke free from its moorings Wednesday, get this, while the pilot was working on it, taking off from a Two Rock Ranch and flying over southern Sonoma County without a pilot for at least 2 hours. Now, how do they know that? Well, the fellow who was working on it said he figured it had about 2 hours worth of gasoline. Authorities concluded the single-engine airplane eventually crashed, but a search for wreckage is suspended because of darkness. In other words, they haven't found it yet at all. Walt Smith, regional coordinator for the FAA, said, quote, "This will be in the aviation history books," end quote. Pretty wild, he said. We're all shaking our heads. We thought we'd heard it all. Search began shortly after 3 p.m. when Paul Clary III of San Rafael, well, I'd like to talk to him. If you're out there, Paul, email me at artbell@mindspring.com. Love to talk to you. Of San Rafael called 911 to report that his airplane had taken off from his son's Middle Two Rock Ranch, Road Ranch, with nobody aboard, with enough fuel to fly along for 2 hours. He said, everybody's saying it's a nightmare. He had owned the plane, a 1946 Aeronautica Champion, for about 6 years. All kinds of people have dispatched aircraft and search parties, and the airplane is yellow. It's not like you'd miss it. And I don't know a whole lot about aviation, as proven by my broken arm when I was trying to hang glide. But, excuse me, how does an airplane, with somebody working on a flooded engine, start up? Okay, I can get that part. It starts up. Surprise. You know, the flooded engine suddenly gets unflooded and chokes and starts. But this airplane then somehow managed to rev up the engine sufficiently to get to flight speed, aim itself down some sort of runway or something, and take off in level flight, gain altitude, and fly for 2 hours. Now, maybe some of you experienced pilots can explain that to me. A shadow person took it. I mean, how can that happen? How can that happen? How can a plane just take off? All right, now listen, as I said, anyway, getting back to predictions, this is your one opportunity. These are numbered predictions that will be filed away in the Bell family vault. Now, I've got predictions made for the year 2001, and we will read more of them and score them in a moment. Now, if I get it wrong, and sometimes I'm not sure how it really came out, I will open my fast blast computer screen so you can tell me I'm full of it, and this or that did or did not actually happen. Let me get that going. There we go. So, in a moment, I will read to you and rate some of last year's predictions, followed by my turning to the phones for all of you to register your... Now look, I want you to reach deep down into your psychic center. Don't just take stabs at things. Really put a little psychic thought into what you think is going to occur. So far, I must say, the predictions we've been getting, while a small sample thus far, are pretty dark in nature. Now, it's been a pretty dark year, and there's some dark stuff going on out there right now. But remember, you're predicting. You know, all of this may turn around very quickly, or, you know, it may not. That's life, right? So, coming up, let us now review some more of those predictions made last year. We got up to number 9. So number 10 made last year would be JC, who had not called in a very long time, to call again. And by God, that is a ding, ding, ding. JC did call, in fact, not very long ago, after a very, very, very long absence. So we know JC is alive, and I must say, I don't note that he went through very much of any sort of good personality change. Number 11 is a definite bonk. It's the old ETs will land on the front lawn of the White House. Bonk. Number 12, that people will become more aware of communications with the dead. I'm going to give this one a ding, and I'm going to tell you why. Because people like, what's his name, Edwards, have entire programs based on it. The sudden, really big increase in the popularity of those who talk to the dead, James Von Prague and others like him. But most of all, the electronic voice phenomena that we have been so much into over this last year. So I'm going to give that one a ding. People are aware of, much more aware of those who speak to or purport to speak to dead people. Number 13, Ramona and Art renew their wedding vows. Actually, it says wedding anniversary. I don't know why I wrote that. We did certainly renew our wedding anniversary, but I think they meant vows. So I'm going to give that a general bonk. We didn't actually renew vows, though we certainly had an anniversary. Number 14 is dead meat. Number 14 says, the XFL, you know, that football league? XFL becomes more famous than the NFL. You're talking about how Major League, how entire football organizations can go, quickly they can go down the tubes. I was so sad about that. I really liked the XFL becoming more popular than the NFL. Bonk. All right, number 15, another shot to the moon announced. Now, I'm a little bit unsure about this one, but I don't think that we have announced any sort of manned shot to the moon, right? So I'm going to give that a bonk. Let's see, number 16, referring to my show. Ratings go up. Ding, ding, ding. Our ratings certainly have gone up. Big ding there. And number 17, a space shuttle disaster. Thank God, a bonk for that one. 18, I'm going to be willing to give a ding. Even though I was not particularly hopeful for him when he was elected, and there was something that gave me the GBs about him, which, by the way, I might add, is not totally gone. Number 18 is that George Bush will be a good president. And so far, you must say, I will. Ding, ding, ding. He really has been. And he certainly has risen to the occasion, in my opinion, as many presidents have, as something horrible happened in America. Absolutely horrible. He has risen to the occasion, and I think is a good president. So I'm giving that a good qualified ding, ding, ding. Actually, your record so far, it's really not half bad. We'll talk about that and take more predictions coming up in a moment. Just a little more on that plane. Thanks to Fast Blast, I'm hearing it. The plane was found near Lake Berryessa. Now, the person who Fast Blasted said, the guy isn't talking, call his lawyer. The guy is Clary. And I don't know if he's talking or not, but it looks like it turned out okay. I mean, nobody's saying anybody got hurt, so. Anyway, reading the story here, it says, his mistake was leaving the throttle forward, and when he turned the propeller to try to start it, the throttle was forward. It sure enough started and took off. It's my fault, he said. Clary and his son, get this, chased the airplane north in their minivan until, quote, we just lost sight of it, said Paul Clary IV. They were able to keep it in sight for no longer than 5 or 10 minutes. The younger Clary said, it's a disaster. They think it likely reached 5,000 feet. Based on the amount of fuel in its tank, it could have gone for 2 hours. Now, I don't know the distances involved here to Lake Berryessa, if that's really where it is. That's absolutely amazing. Now, leave it to me to note something like this, but we're all worried about terrorism in this country, right? And if this guy's plane flying in the blind, truly no human being at its controls whatsoever, was an hour or two in the air, and our military and our civilian people, and nobody could find it. Well, you see where I'm going, right? If a small plane was really wanting to do something awful, it looks to me like they could do it. I mean, this was a big yellow plane that everybody was looking for because it didn't have a pilot, and they couldn't find it. So what would happen if a small plane was bent on doing something awful? I'm sure the FAA is thinking a lot about that one, and should be. Anyway, here we go. Prediction time. First time caller line, you are on the air. Hello.
Hey, Art.
Hey, yes.
Hey, it's Broadway Bo from Morgantown, West Virginia. How you doing tonight?
I'm all right. First time caller, huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, here's my prediction, and I had thought about this last night. In fact, it was in my dream, and I woke up and I kind of thought, wow, that's only a few days away, and this is going to take place on New Year's Eve or New Year's night, or, the new night, when we ring in 2002.
Yes.
And what happened is that there was a random number of suicide bombers standing in the middle of Times Square. And
are you predicting this, or are you just telling us about a dream?
Well, that's how I predict things, because a lot of these.
So you are officially predicting.
Yes. Yes.
Suicide bombers.
A suicide bomber or bombers.
Okay.
In the middle of Times Square.
Okay.
That. I mean, I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, me too.
But.
At the New Year.
Yes. I hope it proves me wrong, but
yeah, it's not.
I close my eyes and I can picture it in my head. I can picture it happening.
Well, just for the comfort or discomfort of those listening out there, what's your record like with regard to prophetic dreams? Have they come true in the past, and if so, on what sort of regular basis?
It's been 50-50, mostly small things.
So this is an unusually big event.
Yes, the biggest I'd say that I've dreamt about so far.
50-50, huh?
50-50.
All right, prediction number 11. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. I'm telling you, we are not getting rosy predictions at all. Now, I guess that's really understandable, isn't it, in view of what's happened and happening? I guess it is, but a lot of times, remember, and I don't want to affect your predicting, but a lot of times, whatever is true now, 6 months from now, just ain't true no more. It's changed, and so, at least bear that in mind. But I ask you to seek your psychic center. Think about this a little bit before rendering up your prediction. Don't cast it. That was actually number 11, because number 10 was the S&P 500 will go up 208 at least. Whoops, wrong. I read the percentage sign as a 0. 20% at least, the S&P 500. So that was 11, and this will be 12. Wildcard line, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi, good evening, God. How are you?
Okay, sir. Where are you?
I'm in Suffolk, New York, about 40 miles outside the city.
Okay.
I have a serious prediction. I think that it's time that America's going to go into isolation as a country.
That's an opinion.
I'm sorry?
That's an opinion.
Right. Well, that's my prediction, that we will go into isolation this year. I felt that we should have nuked them all after September 11th.
Right.
Hopefully they'll do it themselves now, but Pakistan and India, I think, will be more conventional. But maybe they'll all get into it, and we don't have to do anything, and it might be time for us to sit back and take care of our own country for a change.
Well, you have a point there. I don't know about nuking them all, but it does right now look as though they might nuke each other.
Correct.
India and Pakistan. Now, we weren't really in a fight with India, near as far as I know.
Correct. But what I'm hoping for is that, we as a country will just sit back and let them destroy themselves in any way they can.
So if the nuclear weapons began to fly over there, bearing in mind we have troops now in Pakistan, right, and in Afghanistan.
Correct.
You would want to see us withdraw and say, use them up, guys. That about it?
I would love to see us just sit back in the easy chair and go into isolation and just let the world do what they're going to do out there. The world will survive without us, and we'll survive without them, and let them do what they want.
Do you think the world really would survive without America? I mean, have you really thought that one through? The aid we give, the countries that are starving.
To be honest with you, no. But maybe the world would begin to appreciate America, which they should. And I think it's time that we have to take care of ourselves a bit and clean up our own mess here.
So your theory is absence makes the heart grow fonder?
Yes, it does.
I see. All right, gotcha. Thank you very much. America will become isolationist. It's been suggested many, many times throughout the years by people who are sick of what we do around the world. That we just draw all our horns in and pay attention to only America. Just like France. That's what the French do. The French are an odd group. They really are. They're an odd group. They're not bad. The French aren't bad. They're just a What's the right word for the French? They're French. I don't know what else to... Yeah, actually I do, but I can't say it on the radio. I love Paris. Ramona and I love Paris. It's a beautiful, beautiful city. But the French people, they're French. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello, Art.
Hi.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. Where are you?
I am in Oakdale, Nebraska. My name is Sharon.
Okay, Sharon, you have hum on your phone.
Yes, I have a hum.
Okay. And you also probably have a prediction.
I certainly do. And I was hoping, I had my fingers crossed, it would not be number 13.
Well, sorry.
And I have the only sounding good prediction, I think.
Really?
That I have heard so far. Anyway.
That figures it'd be number 13. All right, well, all right, fine.
I predict that there's going to be more visible angels appearing to people.
Oh, I think you're right. Every guest that I've had on, that has been talking about the other side, has been telling me the same thing, that the veil, or whatever it is you want to call it, I call it the veil because that's a cool name, or the barrier between here and there is breaking down.
Well, I have a feeling it's been broken for several years. It's just been people have been afraid to talk about it. My mother had seen angels several years ago when she was a little girl, and she's 92 years old now.
How does she know they're angels?
Because when her grandmother passed away, she saw her at the foot of her bed.
Well, yeah, but see, what she's calling an angel, somebody else might call a ghost.
Well, this is true.
Yeah. Okay. Well, no, nevertheless, I buy your prediction 100%. Okay? More visible angels appear. I mean, more visible everything is appearing, and that is happening right now, and some might call that a ghost. It's all in a name, right? Angel, dead relative, ghost, however you want to think about it. The veil, the separation between there and here is clearly breaking down. Now, you could say, well, Art, you do this kind of a show, and so you hear about this sort of thing. I know, but the percentage of people that are saying this now to me it's just dramatically up. Very dramatically up. So I think, on top of what all my guests are saying, so I think there's a pretty good chance that really is happening. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Well,
yes, sir, you're on the air.
I'm Charlie on Kauai. I have a positive prediction.
Okay, good. It'll be number 14.
That you will witness a cheap, clean, abundant energy source model.
New energy source.
Yes.
What do you think it might be?
Well, I'm the inventor of it, so it's kind of, we both have to cooperate to get it.
Well, isn't this prediction affected by insider information?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? You're the inventor of the product.
But
that's insider information, sir.
I don't know how to respond. I have it, and I'm trying to get it out in the world, and I can make a prediction that I will show it to you.
I see. Oh, I see. Well, okay.
I'll try to get it through, maybe through a nice affiliate in Honolulu.
Give me, if you don't mind, please, a little hint. In what manner does this device generate energy?
It's an array of thousands, at least, of diodes in same alignment parallel that turns Johnson noise turns heat into electricity by Johnson noise in thousands, at least, of diodes aligned the same way parallel.
Yeah, I've heard of this. Actually, I've heard of it. How much energy in the model that you have are you able to produce?
I'm only able to get 50 nanowatts out of 5,000 or near 6,000 diodes. It's not very good.
So we're not going to be powering any little toys with it.
Well, I expect a better model to have a nanowatt per diode and be able to have a trillion diodes per square centimeter.
So all that would be done on a board.
Yeah, a chip with all these diodes as needles embedded in a matrix.
All right. Well, all right. I'll accept your prediction, and we'll see if it is demonstrated to me or not. That's a very, very minuscule amount of power, but it is power. Yeah, I've heard of that before. Diodes upon diodes, zillions of diodes, and it would make sense. It would make some sense. It might make more sense if it was orbiting Earth. Remember the great experiment NASA had with their tether, which, by the way, blew off the connection point because there was so much more current than expected. There's really something to be said about power in space. And the big question is how to get it back here. That's the problem. Motion is power, absolutely, and motion and two large bodies moving about each other generate a very great deal of power, or are able to receive a great deal of power. It depends on how you think about it, I suppose. On the first-time caller line, you are on the air. Hello.
Yeah, hi.
Hi there.
Prediction?
Yes, sir. You're in a truck, right?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay.
And my prediction is that Barry Sanders is going to come out of retirement and going to win the Super Bowl for the Lions.
Really?
That's it.
Do you have any insider information?
No, I don't. I'm a diehard Lions fan. Got to see them do something better than they did this year.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. Barry Sanders comes out of retirement. Nobody really understands altogether why Barry Sanders did retire in the first place. He just, at the zenith of a career, just said that's it. But there's been a lot of rumor about his possibly coming back. West of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Good morning, Art.
Good morning to you, ma'am. Where are you?
I'm calling from Lolo, Montana.
Okay.
And my name is Suzanne.
Okay.
And I got a prediction.
Number 16.
Oh, not a bad number. I'm predicting that, this is a good one, that the alternative in homeopathic healing will coincide with the medical profession by the end of the year.
Will coincide with what?
The medical, doctors today, medical profession.
You mean that the medical profession will begin to adopt homeopathic methods and remedies?
Yeah, and alternative, herbs and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
I think they almost have to.
It's really, really interesting you would suggest that. My family doctor is doing that all the time. He's saying, look here, here's this or that, or give it a try.
Yeah, I work with all of that stuff, so it's, the only ones who really seem interested right now are chiropractors. Because they align the back, but then you have to finish the homework, if you know what I mean.
So alternative medicine becomes mainstream.
With, medical profession, yeah.
Well.
Or they'll join together to work on helping people instead of cutting them up and,
Okay, I have registered your prediction, and I would like to think that you're right. And I am personally amazed that I have a family doctor that is absolutely that way. In fact, he's a remarkable, remarkable man. Here in Pahrump, Nevada. Remarkable man. But do I think that the entire medical profession, the surgeons and everybody out there is going to suddenly adopt all sorts of alternative ways of doing things? No, I'm sorry, I don't think so. Interest of getting positive predictions. I give you happy music. Remember this from Greece? Maybe this will get in good mood and you'll make a good prediction. Who knows? I'm Art Bell. This is Coast to Coast AM. Well, all right, back now to the predictive powers of my audience. Now, I was thinking about this a little bit earlier. It may well be that my audience, all of you, because of the fact that you listen to this kind of program, you're probably more in tune with yourself, your psychic self. At least that's certainly a strong possibility. So the predictions that you all make might have a higher average hit rate. So far, that's exactly what we're seeing. Let's see what's out there. First time caller line, you're on the air. Hello.
This is Mark in Boise, Idaho.
Hey, Mark.
I'd like to make a prediction about China. I think they're going to make some significant moves to expand their territory.
Oh?
And possibly play King of the Mountain with America.
You think it'll center around the Spratlys?
I don't know.
They're in a big fight about the Spratlys with the Philippines and others, claiming they belong to China. Of course, they also claim Taiwan, and you could be absolutely right. They could begin.
They've just been awfully quiet lately. I haven't heard much news, and
No, it's probably, sadly, a pretty good prediction. And you think that if they begin making moves, if you were the U.S. president, and China started to make some moves, what would you do?
Well,
Yes?
I'd have to declare war on them, probably.
Declare war on China?
It'd probably cause, what with the numbers, they outnumber us greatly, so.
Well, mere numbers of human beings in this nuclear age, probably doesn't mean a lot.
No.
And so you would have, since you're president, you would have all kinds of things at your disposal, like neutron bombs that would kill people and not stuff.
Yes.
You would use those?
You'd be forced to.
Uh-huh.
If you were the president of the United States.
I see. Don't run. Thanks for the call and the prediction.
Thanks, Eric.
Take care. Don't run for office. So China, well, that's a pretty good prediction, actually, when you think about it. China probably is going to make some moves. Begin consolidating a number of territories, not just the Spratlys, and boy, there's a big lot of trouble over that, but never know. Could be the year for Taiwan. Maybe they'd be satisfied with that, and even at that, we'd probably get involved with that. We said we would, right? Wildcard line, you are on the air. Good morning.
Yeah, you just took my prediction almost. I'm going to go a step.
That man took your prediction?
Almost. I'm going to go a step further.
All right.
China and the United States will be in full-blown war.
Oh, brother.
By July the 4th.
Hold on.
And what will kick it off? They will invade Taiwan.
Yeah, that would do it. July 4th?
By July 4th. I'm going to say right around July 4th.
Now, when you say full-blown war, do you mean like nuclear war?
I believe we will get hit twice with 2 nuclear blasts where we have the stealth bombers, one in Missouri and one in North Dakota.
And we would hit back, of course. And you think what? That we would just hit 2 of their cities in retaliation and that might be the end of it?
I don't think we will retaliate.
You don't?
I don't think we will retaliate.
How can you imagine the United States would get 2 nukes going off on its territory from a foreign power, much less some crazy SOB in Afghanistan, and not react? How could we not react, sir?
I think we should react, but I think the probability is that we will not react. I think we will take our hits.
Boy, over my dead body. That's always possible. All right. Thank you very much for the call. I sure do disagree with that. I think that if a nation state were to hit us with a nuclear device, they could kiss their butts goodbye. Do understand that there might be a measured response. In other words, China would hit us with, as he suggested, 2 nuclear weapons, and we, I think, then would respond, at least in the beginning, maybe in a measured way. But on the other hand, maybe not so measured. Maybe we would take all of their military capability away and we'd do it with nuclear weapons, and that would be a lot. That's a pretty dire prediction. East of the Rockies, you are on the air. Hi.
Good morning, Art.
Good morning, sir. Where are you?
Indianapolis.
Okay, you're going to have to yell at me. You're not too loud. What cheery prediction do you have for us?
I predict that a biological attack on the United States will happen at the opening ceremonies of the Winter Olympics in Utah.
Bio attack at Winter Olympics. May I ask in what way this comes to you?
It's pretty hard for me to explain. Every once in a while, I get a gut feeling, and usually when I pay attention to it, it turns out to be right.
So that's what it is. It's a gut instinct.
Yes.
That would
I don't really know how to explain it any further.
Well, you don't have to. A biological attack at the Winter Olympics. There have been a number of people who have been concerned, worried about that. Boy, the American people are in a bad mood, huh?
I don't think that we're in a bad mood. I think that our foreign policy and the things that we do around the country is not appreciated, and I think that we've made a lot of enemies along the way. And I think that with what happened September 11th, that kind of like, the first punch has been thrown, and now more people are going to throw punches.
Yeah, you've got to imagine that could certainly be the case, but you think it'll be all right. Thank you very much. I guess I shouldn't say a bad, but that's really what it is. Everybody's in a really, really bad mood, huh? Or is it a realistic mood? Dark, but realistic. I don't know. All of a sudden this year, or just before the beginning of the new year, everybody's worried about biological and nuclear attacks. Guess I shouldn't be surprised, but it's pretty dark stuff, especially the biological part. Yeah, I think a lot of people out there are being lulled into the it's all over syndrome. The last chase in the cave to cave for Osama bin Laden is underway and it's all going to be over, but probably is not true. Incidentally, if you get the opportunity, with regard to what's going on in Afghanistan, the hunt for bin Laden, all the rest of it, if you get a chance, watch the CBC, if you've got satellite, watch CBC News and watch the BBC News. And I say that not because we've got censored news, but we are to some degree propagandized by our own country. At the news that comes from Canada and comes from Great Britain really will give you a slightly different perspective. It's really interesting the way they cover things and sometimes the depth to which they cover them. The dispute, for example, between India and Pakistan and the way that is now being covered. The BBC is covering it one way, we're covering it another. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Hi, Art. This is Jesse from Medford, Oregon.
Hello, Jesse.
Well, I had a kind of strange prediction, kind of retort on what your past two callers were talking about these little stupid wars and things. I don't think people realize is we're at an atomic stalemate. I mean, everybody has nuclear weapons. We can't really do anything to each other but destroy the entire planet. So, I mean, I think the United Nations is going to come in, and there's going to be citizens, and then there's going to be terrorists, and we're all going to have world IDs, like international identification.
Well, which part, I mean, you're making all kinds of statements here. What do you wish to make a specific prediction? I will only take one.
In the next 5 years, we're all going to have international identification.
No, I can't take that either. This is a prediction for this coming year.
Oh, I don't have anything for this year.
Oh, you don't?
No.
All right. Well, I appreciate the call. Thank you. And you also have hum on your phone. ID cards within 5 years. Well, I'm sorry. I'm only doing predictions for the coming year. This is the short term. So, first time caller line, you're on the air. Hi.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes, it's Art Bell?
It would be me, yes.
Okay.
Turn your radio off, please.
Okay.
And what is your first name?
I'm sorry?
You're obviously turning off the radio. What is your first name?
Al.
Al, okay, and where are you?
I'm in Chatsworth, California.
Okay, your prediction will be number 20 if you have it.
Okay. I'm just predicting, I just have a gut feeling about this thing that as soon as we relax, they're going to blow up an airline. They're going to blow up a domestic airline.
Another plane to blow up?
Yeah. I think they can stop the hijacking, but what they're going to probably do, somebody's going to get aboard with and have a baggage put, in the airline like they normally do, and it's going to be plastic explosives.
Yeah.
And I hope I'm wrong about this, but this is what I'm feeling.
Well,
when we let our guards down.
This guy who had the C4 in his heels of his shoe.
Yes.
It's funny because he had gone to the airport the first day and they stopped him, asking him questions, but then they let him on the second day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, the idiot lit a match.
Yeah.
So he got caught that way. But I mean, if he had known what he was doing, which he obviously didn't, he certainly would have blown up that airplane. And I don't know how confident I am that security is working.
Well, I think it's only really so much they can do. I think they're doing the best they can.
Oh, of course they are, yes. Mm-hmm. But it may be, mission impossible.
Yeah.
And if people want to give up their lives to take a plane out of the air, maybe there's hardly any way to stop it.
That's what I'm feeling. And like I said, I just have a gut feeling about this, but I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, I doubt you are. I appreciate the call. Thank you.
Love you, sure.
Thank you, sir. I generally agree with that proposition. Now, he did get stopped and the plane didn't blow up, but it was close. I mean, he got C4 on an airplane, for goodness sakes. And then the next day, we're supposed to feel better by seeing some shoes all by their lonesome selves going through the scanning device. Suddenly you had to take off your shoes and put them on a little thing, the conveyor that goes through the scanner. And I think that was supposed to make us feel better. Fact of the matter is, if people really want to give up their lives, commit suicide, take a plane out, it is really, really hard to stop them. East of the Rockies, you are on the air. Cheerio. Hello?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Wow, this is incredible. Yes, my prediction is, I listened to your show with Mr. Hessman.
Oh, yes.
And my prediction will be that Catholicism will be in resurgence, and especially with regard to Mary. And also, I have a recommended guest for you now that Father Malachi Martin is no longer with us.
Uh-huh.
And that would be Father Benedict Groeschel. He has written many books, and
just email me how to get hold of him, and you think he would be a really interesting guest?
Oh, he absolutely would be, yes.
Why?
Oh, he's written so many books, and many, in fact, more books than Father Malachi Martin, and he's also very ecumenical.
What is happening now with the Catholic Church? Is it in a resurgence? Are all churches now in a resurgence?
I think that the Catholic Church is in a resurgence, absolutely, and I think that John Paul II has so much to do with it. I think he will go down as one of the doctors of the Church in the future. The effect that he's had in the last 20-some years is enormous. And Father Groeschel is so cognizant of all these aspects as well as other religions. He's really
all right. Sold.
A student of all the world's religions.
Sold. Sold. You get me information on how to contact him, and I will do it. It's artbell@mindspring.com.
Very good.
Okay?
All right.
Thank you very much. Would very much like to have somebody of that stature on the program talk about the state of the church. Father Malachi Martin, boy, he really was something, wasn't he? Just an amazing, amazing, amazing man. I'm so honored that I had such a close relationship with him and got to interview him as many times as I did. He was just an amazing, has to be one of the amazing men of the century, really. West of the Rockies, you are on the air. Hello.
Oh, yes, this is Art Bell.
It is indeed, yes, sir. Where are you?
Oh, my name is Ray. I'm calling from Ukiah, California.
Okay, Ray, your prediction, if you're making one, number 22.
Okay, my prediction is that by July, I'm predicting a great modern revival like we've never seen before. This is going to be greater than the Azusa Street miracle.
A great, spiritual, religious revival?
Yes. I mean, amongst all this bad turmoil and everything all that I'm hearing, this is what I'm predicting that's going to be happening by July.
And what do you think will, that's interesting. What do you think will bring this on?
Well, with all this war and stuff going on, I think everything that's going on in the world is going to be bringing families and everybody else back together. I mean, I see some of it happening since the 9/11 situation that took place.
All right. Well, listen, your prediction is a lot like the last one. That's very good. Okay, I'll put it down. That's number 22. Also saying a great spiritual revival is almost upon us. That's actually kind of positive stuff, isn't it? I'm Art Bell. This is Coast to Coast AM. Back now into the land of predictions, and actually, y'all are doing as well as some who predict for a living. But I'm not surprised at that. I mean, this audience you would expect to be, a little bit above average when it comes to predictive ability, and so far so good. Actually, every year a little better. First time caller line, you are on the air. Hi.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi, Art.
Hi.
Yeah, I want to predict that a catastrophic event of some sort will happen that will usher in a great revival. The guy that was on before me kind of stole my idea, but
he did.
I've been having this feeling for quite a while now, and I think it'll happen this year.
Okay, but you think a catastrophe of some sort, even greater than 9/11,
right,
is going to bring it in?
I believe that I'm not going to say exactly what it is, but a catastrophic event will happen this year, and the only thing the people will have left to do is to call on their maker.
You all are in a dire mood, aren't you?
Yes.
I appreciate the call. Thank you. Very dire mood. Guess it's 9/11. I don't know. You should not ignore this, though. When this many people are saying stuff this dark, and even when the positive people are saying, well, it'll be a good thing coming out of darkness, then they're all really saying the same thing. And when this many people say anything, you had better take notice. I'm certainly beginning to. On the wildcard line, you're on the air. Hello.
Hey, Art, it's Stephen from Evansville, Indiana again.
Hello.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Did you hear today that there was a solar explosion, and not a solar flare, but a solar explosion that's supposed to create aurora borealis as far down as the Midwest?
I did hear something about that. Now, I'm looking at the X-ray flux right now. There was an M flare that we had just a very few minutes ago, within the hour. And then there was a gigantic M flare, and that's all I see here. Now, explosion-wise, I'm not exactly sure that I have a website that shows explosions.
I wonder what that would mean, though, what an explosion would mean. I know about solar flares, but
Well, flares are kind of explosions. However, I will tell you this. Oh, my God. I'm looking at the index, the solar index right now, and it's holy mackerel, it's 275. That's astounding. 200. Holy mackerel.
When I was in the Navy in the late 70s, I was a Morse code operator, but we also had satellite systems, and whenever there was a solar flare, we had what was called scintillation, and it completely knocked out our satellite systems. And I was wondering how come that doesn't happen anymore. I mean, I don't ever hear anything about satellite systems really being knocked out.
The main, it could still happen with a mega flare, and we did have one mega flare. Thank God it didn't hit Earth.
Yeah, well,
we had one, and that one of the reasons would be because we now have much higher powered satellites than those days.
Right.
And it's much harder for the energy from the sun to overwhelm such a strong signal. But believe me, we could have one that could kill virtually all the satellites exposed to it. No doubt about it.
Well, this one was supposed to be some kind of huge solar explosion, and Aurora Borealis was supposed to be all the way down through the Midwest. Of course, we've got snowy outside, snowy clouds, so I can't see the damn thing. And I was just wondering if any other callers might have.
All right, let's see what we can find out. Yeah, I heard some stuff about that. Boy, oh boy, some of these counts are absolutely amazing. There were some rounded counts earlier in the day of 290. Holy moly. The sun really has been at minor to major storm levels. Major storm. Right now, major storm. So there's a lot going on in the sun, as I've been telling you, and we should be in a decline right now, and yet it's rivaling the top, of the cycle. So strange stuff. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Hi.
This is James calling from Alabama.
Hello, James.
Yes, I predict that in the next year that we're going to see a vast increase in the number of UFO sightings and alien abductions.
Really?
Yes, and I believe that one of the people that will be abducted will be the president.
Oh, now that certainly would get everybody's attention.
And because of this, the CIA and the government decide that it's time to come clean with the general public as far as the existence of aliens and the UFO technology.
So not only will they have to come in front of the American people, somebody like Alex Haig, no doubt,
right,
saying, listen, we've decided we've got to come clean.
Right.
Not only are there aliens and UFOs, but one of them appears to have taken our president.
Right.
That's one hell of a prediction, sir.
I see that happening this next year.
How did this come to you?
Well,
I mean, as predictions go, this one is, way over the edge.
Right. Well, I'm a fan of the genre anyway, as far as, UFOs, existence. Are they out there? Well, we know they are, but, and if you look at the past few years, you can tell there's been a definite increase. It goes through peaks and valleys, so to speak.
Now, having had an opportunity to observe George Bush under fire, going through the war and everything.
Right.
How do you think he'll do when he's on the table?
That I don't know. But I think he'll still be the president as far as his attitude.
So he'll take it, whatever it is, presidentially.
Yeah.
All right, that's the damnedest one I've had yet, but appreciate it.
Uh-huh.
It's number 24. Remember that number.
Okay.
All right, take care. That would do it, all right. The president has been taken by aliens. I am now in charge. Oh, boy. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Thanks, Art. This is Joe in Tucson, Arizona, listening on KNST 790.
Yes, sir.
Well, I have a prediction for the coming year.
Okay.
And that is that this will be the year, 2002 that is, will be the year when the discovery is made of a near-Earth asteroid, one of the Earth-approaching minor planets, that will require what's called in the field mitigation. That is, it will require some sort of deflection, using one of the competing technologies to do that.
Now, I don't mean to stir anybody up or shake anybody up, but, all over the net right now, there are all kinds of really, really, really strong rumors about scientists having detected something that we haven't all been told about yet. You've been getting that too?
Well, I tell you what, I work in that field. I'm one of the professionals who works in the minor planet That is in the near Earth asteroid.
Are you really?
Yeah, here in the Arizona desert, right, using 2 telescopes on a high mountain here.
Okay.
And, anyway,
no, wait.
I'm making this prediction.
Wait.
Sure.
Wait. Do you know more than you're telling us right now?
No, sir. No, absolutely not. This is strictly off the cuff. It's more by feeling than by
nothing that
any sort of discovery. But it is informed a little bit, Art, by some experience in the field and the very fact that, discoveries have been becoming more frequent. Because the technology is getting so good now to detect these things, CCD detectors.
Sure.
Blowing every other technology out of the water and have for a dozen or 2 dozen years now.
Well, there have been some movies, as you know, made of this sort of thing. Now, if something like this were detected coming at the Earth that would do substantial damage, ranging from not too much to ending all life at the microbial level, what would happen politically? Would it be announced? Would you all tell before the president did, or would you go straight to the government, or would the government come straight to you, or what would happen?
Oh, there's a very, very well-established protocol for this now. It's been formulated over years, and in general, the data is sent to the Minor Planet Center each and every night that we're out there observing.
Right.
And that's at Harvard University. We email all the data to them.
Yeah, but assuming that you got the WOW sighting and you saw something that was likely headed our way, what do you think would happen when you sent that in and they confirmed it? In other words, what do you think the chain of events would be? Would we be told right away or not?
Yes, in fact, sometimes even some rather half-baked orbits leak out, even before there's sufficient data to make an accurate projection.
Right.
And there's no way to stop that because it's, information is free to flow, and it must do so in the field.
Yeah, there have been a number of false alarms.
Yeah, that's embarrassing, but it's really nobody's fault. The fact is that an orbit can become much more precise overnight just by one extra observation, or perhaps one of our colleagues could look back and find the object on a photographic plate made in, say, 1970.
Sure.
Suddenly the orbit is extraordinarily precise because we have a long lever arm on it.
Right. Gotcha. Now, with regard to mitigating something that might be coming our way in some way, do we have the ability right now to really do anything if a big rock was headed toward Earth? What could we do?
I would say the technologies are there. In other words, we are a technological society. I should say technological enough to carry this out. It's just that I don't think that there is the political infrastructure or even the relationship among governments to actually carry this off, at least smoothly. Okay, we have seen, since September 11th that certain very difficult things can be done, in this, through our own government and through international relations. So if there's a sufficient need, things can get done. But the fact is that, it's been pretty rocky to...
Little pun?
Yeah.
Now here's one for you. If the rock, or whatever it was, and as it got closer, certainly the point of impact could be determined, right?
Yes, but that would require probably... Well, that might require what's called a couple of oppositions. It might take about 2 years or more to
really pin it down,
accumulate the data, accumulate the precise observations, precise positional observations.
If once we determined precisely where it was going to fall, if it was going to fall on China, would we? Oh, that sounds like a cat.
Yeah, I have a bunch here.
Yeah, a bunch.
Sharing my place.
If it was going to fall on China, would we attempt to mitigate it?
I think wherever it falls on the Earth, Art, and this is why we have to take this threat so seriously. In general, I'm not saying there's a specific one now. I don't want to give any false alarms. If one is to fall anywhere on Earth, it must be mitigated regardless of the locale, because even if it falls in the ocean, because...
bad news for everybody.
An object of sufficient size would simply take out the biosphere for about 10 years. And that means we go with it.
we go with it. So, so it would have to be an international effort of some kind.
It would indeed.
All right. You stay in touch with me.
The big players, of course, will have to, take the biggest part in it. In other words, the U.S., Russia, probably China.
Will you put me on the first contact list, please?
Well, I tell you what, the Minor Planet Center will probably be the very first, and you'll be a close second, okay?
You got it.
I think you're doing great work, Art.
Thank you.
Take good care.
Take care. How interesting. How very interesting. He's part of the team that's out there looking for one of those rocks that might be headed our way. Now, even after making that request and getting that gracious answer, I'm not sure that I believe it. But he is certainly right about the false alarms. They have been getting out, but they've all been downstream. You know, in 30 years, this might happen. In 100 years, that might happen. Nobody has yet said, oh my God, look, 6 months. That's the one you got to really worry about. So I wonder if he'd really call me. I can hope. West of the Rockies, you are on the air. Hello.
Hi, Art.
Hello.
Hello. Let me turn down the radio because I can't listen to you in dial both.
No, that's true. You can't. Turn it off all the way, actually.
I've got it
there you go.
all the way.
Where are you?
I'm calling from Seattle, Washington.
Okay. Seattle.
Yeah, Diane.
Okay, Diane.
Okay. You want predictions?
If you've got them, I'll take them. It'll be number 26.
Okay, well, actually, they're just two little ones.
No, I can only take one.
Okay, we'll do a fun one because I'm so tired of hearing of all this dire stuff.
Pretty rough stuff, huh?
Everybody says something's going to happen, but they can't tell you why they know. I think Ellen DeGeneres is going to, and this is a fun one, is going to do a lot of fill-in work for David Letterman, and soon she will take over the Tonight Show.
Really?
David Letterman. I think what her performance, and thank you for that response. I think her performance, I think maybe there are already people who are saying this woman should have a talk show and it should go big time and it should go the night.
And
she will be the next one.
Really?
Yeah.
Ellen DeGeneres to take over the Tonight Show.
Yeah, well, I think Letterman's about the closest to retire, and maybe he'll start taking more time off. So he'll use her as a fill-in, and I think she will be one of the biggest successes there ever has been.
All right, that's a very interesting prediction.
Oh, thank you.
Is that a bird I hear in the background?
No, it's my little dog. I'm nursing her through a heart spell.
So. She doesn't sound well then, because she sounds more like a bird.
A bird.
Thank you for the prediction.
You're welcome, Art.
Take care. Yeah, sorry about that. That was a dog, huh? Didn't sound too good. First time caller line on the air. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, turn your radio off, please.
Okay.
Sorry. Sorry. Everybody does it. Where are you?
I'm in Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City. All right.
Yes.
Do you have a prediction?
Yes, I do. Fairly simple prediction. The whole doomsday, whatever, everybody thinks that we're going to see something drastic and nasty. I don't believe that. A good friend of mine explained it to me very well one time. He said that when you cook a frog, you don't throw him immediately into steaming hot water. You turn the fire up.
Well, not unless he'll jump out if you do that.
Right.
He hates it.
So you understand.
Yeah, so you slowly get him hotter.
I think that we as people here in the United States, specifically, are much the same. The powers that be, the people who are controlling, that's a whole other story. I don't think that they're going to throw us into the water. I think they're going to gradually turn up the heat.
Yeah, well,
so I think we're going to see another ho-hum year, really. I really do.
You're the first one to predict that. A calm, we'll put a calm ho-hum year. Yeah, well, I mean, we're going to see probably some escalation of the problem that we have over in the Middle East right now. But I don't think it's going to be anything drastic. I mean, think about the big KO punch that they threw us on 9/11. Right. And then, I think that's what everybody is thinking about. And I think that in combination with all the warnings we're getting and the worry about bioterrorism and nuclear weapons in India and Pakistan, and you've got to admit it's a pretty lousy atmosphere out there right now. Yes, I'll admit that, yeah. But you think, listen, I think your prediction is fine. You think that it'll all turn around and be relatively
I don't think that conditions are necessarily getting better or leveling off. I think that, there's a lot more control in this issue. That's not.
No, that's fair. I mean, we frogs are just getting a little warmer, that's all, right?
Yeah, and they're going to turn it up, and they'll turn it up, and they'll turn it up, and eventually we will be cooked, but I don't think that we're going to be cooked all at one time.
So are you a fairly warm frog right now?
I am the coolest frog on the block. I don't...
Yeah, but that's because you're in the pot, and it's slowly heating, and you don't know. I mean, that's your own theory. I'm turning back on you there. I'm Art Bell, and this is Coast to Coast AM, roaring through the nighttime, doing predictions. Hope you get a chance to make yours. Number 28 is going to be next. Stay right where you are. Back now to predictions. And it really is true. I was saying that during the commercial break. Don't know if you caught it, but online ordering, ordering on the web and ordering through catalogs is up about 33% for the year. Are you amazed at that figure? I'm not. I don't know about America becoming isolationist, but since 9/11, Americans have become kind of isolationist. And they're not really leaving home, and if they are, not very far. Very few are flying, and a lot are ordering on the web. So the revolution is well underway, probably given a big spike by what happened on 9/11. People are not really leaving home. I wonder when that will really change. West of the Rockies, you are on the air. Hi. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, hi.
Hi, Art.
Hello.
This is Kathy in Phoenix.
Hi, Kathy.
Listening to you on KFYI.
Sure.
I've got a prediction.
All right.
And one of your callers said that people don't say how they know. I dream things.
Okay.
And that's what this is what I have dreamed.
All right. Do your dreams frequently come true, always come true, once in a while come true?
Almost always come true.
Almost always. All right.
Mm-hmm.
With that in mind, what have you dreamt?
I have dreamt, and I don't know if it's natural or unnatural, as in man-made, that there will be a disaster in Mexico that will result in the U.S. Having to close the border and set up guards along the border.
Wow.
And I've seen a lot of fire and a lot of darkness, but I don't know if it was natural or man-made.
Holy smokes. Your prediction coincides with one made by Sean David Morton about Mexico City.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure he made it for this coming year, but, you could be right. There could be something that would happen in Mexico that would be so dire that the border would be so flooded that we would virtually have no choice, I suppose.
That's what I'm dreaming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad dream. All right, thank you.
Okay.
All right, bad dream. Americans are just in a really dire mood. And that certainly is a possibility. It may be that so many people thought that, the kind of thing that happened on 9/11 could never really happen. Even I thought that. Somewhere in my heart of hearts, I never imagined that the heart of New York City could be struck the way it was, that two great buildings that seemed sinkable, like the Titanic, would be sunk. It's just beyond all imagination. You could not concoct a horror movie with greater special effects, only it was real. And so maybe now that something of that magnitude has occurred, people suddenly feel free to let go of what they've been thinking. I don't know. But I'm noticing a marked difference in the kind of predictions we're getting. First-time caller line, you're on the air.
Hi, this is Rob, calling from KSFO in San Francisco.
Okay, how you doing?
Oh, terrific. How are you doing?
Good, good. Your prediction, if you have one, will be number 29.
Okay, I predicted under our President George W. Bush that we're going to go into a period of extended enlightenment and prosperity with racial equality, and we're going to the United States is going to influence the whole world. I don't have these dire predictions that other people have.
Why do you think everybody is so dire?
Well, everything from war to comets hitting the Earth. I study astronomy and engineering and science and politics, and there's probably a long shot chance. There's a very, very long shot chance that we're going to have a meteor hit the Earth or something like that, and that I think that the way our president is handling things is just the latest thing of his relationship with China. He's going to head off having.
We just normalized relations.
Yes, I think he'll head off, and I was always fearful of China, but I think he's going to head it off, and I've just been reading about him, following him, and listening to what he said and what he did in Texas before he was president, and this guy's. Everyone's been bashing him, but this guy's extremely capable. He's kind of an understatement.
He's actually had pretty good days lately. Since the war, I think he's getting pretty high marks.
Yeah, well, he's getting high marks because of the tragedy we've had. But even if we hadn't had that tragedy, this guy's got a capability I don't think I've seen in any of our.
Okay, well, the only warning that I would serve you up is that, yes, he's getting very high marks right now, and he's done very well in responding to what happened on that fateful day. But the economy right now is in trouble.
Well,
And traditionally, when economies get in trouble, so do presidents.
Well, I suppose that can happen, but I hear, and I follow the market also, and
it can happen. I mean, you could ask his dad, you could ask Jimmy Carter, you could ask a lot of people. It can happen.
Well, I think that it's going to turn around, and I think there's already indicators that the Democrats. And I used to be a Democrat. I'm living in San Francisco. There's only Democrats in San Francisco, I guess.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. And I just I no longer believe that they're for the small people or for the working people, and they've just changed their attitude, and what they've gone through lately they're causing us to have this economic problem because they want to get reelected, and I guess you can't blame them for that. But
do they still burn people in San Francisco?
Burn people?
Yeah.
No, I don't remember that.
No. Well, okay. Then I guess you're safe. Otherwise, I'd say you're a candidate for the stake.
Well, I keep at arm's length. I have no connection with Bush or politics. I don't run for politics. It's not my business. And I'm just saying this all on my own.
I see. Well, you're
definitely my intuition, really.
You're in enemy territory there.
Well, I don't know. I think there's a lot of people changing their mind, actually.
All right, sir. I appreciate the call. A lot of rethinking going on in San Francisco, huh? George Bush to lead us to prosperity. I'm sorry, I don't have that feeling, and I don't think it's George Bush's fault particularly. I really don't. I just think that we're in that cycle. There's a cycle. The economy has a cycle. And George Bush's dad got caught in the down part of the cycle, and George is getting caught in it too. Whether it will stick or not, or, what happened with 9/11 will eclipse whatever bad news there is about the economy, and the people normally blame it on the president. Maybe they will not do so this time, but that would be historical change. Wildcard line, you're on the air. Hello.
This is Norm in San Diego, Coco Radio.
Yes, sir.
Art, you sound the same on the phone as you do on the radio. I got the radio shut off, and I'm listening to you on the phone.
Now that's
something exactly the same.
That's something that nobody ever says.
It's absolutely true. I've been listening to you since the days of K-Dawn, when the toilet overflowed and you were getting all that water down into the studio. And I remember the glue on the lip.
Yeah, you've been there. You've been there a while.
How's Comet doing and the other kitty cats?
They're all just fine.
Happy New Year to you, Ramona, and the kitty cats.
Yes,
I have a prediction.
And it will be number 30.
Israel will find the Ark of the Covenant.
Ooh.
And when they find it, because it's a promise from God to them, they will not reveal the contents to the world.
Really? If you were standing in front of the Ark of the Covenant and you had an opportunity to open it, there it would be. All you would have to do would be to reach down and open it. Would you do that?
No, sir. What I would do is I'd go back to my Bible and look up Revelations.
Uh-huh.
Because I don't think it's my purpose to open up the Ark of the Covenant. It's for the Israelites.
Well, you could look at it a different way. If you had an opportunity to somehow be right in front of it and it was there to be opened, then you might feel differently.
If there was an angel standing by my right side, maybe I'd stay there to see it be open. But I do believe Israel will find it this coming year.
It is possible.
And they will not reveal the contents to the world.
There are others, who say it's already been found and is being guarded now.
I do believe that it's not been found yet, and I do believe it's intended for these Israeli people. And they're going to find it, and when they do, they'll keep the contents to themselves, at least for the time being, and they ain't going to reveal it to the world.
Gotcha.
They may reveal it to the Pope, maybe the Pope, and then he'll keep the secret. But anyway, it's been fun listening to you since, my gosh.
Way back when. All right, sir. I appreciate the call. Thank you. All right. Israel will find the Ark of the Covenant. There are many who feel it's already been found and is under guard, and I'm sure those guards think that's what they're guarding. Steve in Brighton fast blasts me the following, and several people have done the same, so I'm sure it is so. Steve says, solar blast, twisted magnetic fields above sunspot group 9742 erupted December 26th. The blast sparked an hours-long M7 class solar flare and hurled a bright coronal mass ejection, CME, into space. Now, whether or not it is headed for us, I don't know. But if people are predicting aurora, that sounds like it is. I'm not surprised. Our sun is really going berserk. And again, you will all note, so is the Earth right now. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello, Sarah Jane Lee.
Yes, hi there.
Hi, from Lebanon, Virginia.
Okay.
And I look forward to that Aurora Borealis.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I saw it the first time in November.
Amazing, huh?
Yes. And so look forward to that. My prediction is that there'll be increasing international cooperation between the United States and Russia.
Okay.
And will help to mitigate the situation between Pakistan and India.
Do you think that Russia and the U.S. have the power to virtually tell them they will not go to war?
I don't know if they have the power to prevent, but they certainly have a lot of influence. I have a dream 25 years ago about Pakistan and India.
And that dream was?
There was a nuclear exchange.
Oh, really?
Yes. And the Pakistan hit India. It says, oops, mistake. The India says no, and sent back.
I think with nuclear weapons, oops is not responded to well.
No. But in that dream, Russia and the United States did work together.
Well, we could work together to perhaps see to it that whatever happened there would not become global. There was a guy who called earlier and said, if it happens, let them go at it.
Well, I think he has an unpleasant surprise if he decides just to let everything else in the world go to pot. While he sits back in his chair, he'll find it comes back.
Well, all right. I appreciate the call. Thank you. Damned if we do and damned if we don't. In other words, if we go out and get involved in the world, then we are the big bad interventionist, adventuresome U.S. The same old U.S. Aggressive, adventuresome, troublemaking, invasionary, whatever words you want to use. that's how we're looked at by a lot of countries. Now, if we were to sit back and not do much of anything, we would be responsible for the chaos of the world. Can't win, can you? West of the Rockies, you are on the air. Good morning.
Good morning.
Turn your radio off, please.
I just did.
Good. Where are you?
Kennewick, Washington.
Okay.
This is Victor.
Yes, sir.
And I had a question for you before I make a prediction here.
Okay.
Over the years, how many of the listeners' predictions have actually come to pass?
Well, I haven't. You know what? I haven't totaled them up.
Well, each year,
all the years. I haven't totaled, but the audience in the beginning years did very poorly, if I'm recalling correctly. I can't give you exact numbers because I've never added it all up. But this year so far, they're doing remarkably well. Now, a person might suggest that this audience as a whole is becoming somewhat more psychic.
I believe that's happening overall worldwide, actually.
You do?
Yes. I've noticed I've had a lot more dreams about stuff that's actually come to pass, and visions and things like that.
Well, do you have one specific dream or vision that you are prepared to turn into a prediction?
Well, yeah. I'm not going to predict the exact day or time because the Bible says I can't, but I believe we're going to see the return of the King.
The Lord comes back?
Yes.
And that you believe will occur
sometime next year.
Next year?
Yes.
Lord returns next year.
Or a bunch of we're gonna find a bunch of
what kind of mood will he be in?
Well, he's gonna come twice, of course. He's gonna come and take the church out of here. And I guess he's gonna be in okay mood then. I'm not clear on that part.
He's going to take the church out?
Yeah, believers.
Oh, you mean the great sucking up of believers?
Yeah, the rapture, whatever.
The rapture, yes, okay, I see.
And then
he's going to be in a bad mood the next time he comes.
When he comes back, 7 years later, he's going to be real ticked off. I was going to use another word, but
that's all right.
We're on the radio.
Yeah, and it's the Lord we're talking about.
And he's going to be not in a good mood.
He has justifiable retribution. He doesn't get ticked off or worse.
No,
not when we're talking about the Lord. We get ticked off. He has justifiable retribution, and he visits it on us in ways of locusts and water turning to blood and stuff like that. But he's not ticked off. It's justifiable retribution. From the high desert, this is Coast to Coast AM. I'm Art Bell. I'm playing cheerful songs, trying to sort of get you in a mood to make cheerful predictions, but it's just not working. And if it keeps going this way, I'm going to just join you and play Barry Maguire or something. I am not. Let me repeat this. I am not taking predictions by fast blast, and I'm getting a million of them, and I'm just not taking them. They're not going to be put down. I'm sorry. Ditto for those that are emailed, not taking them that way. Only those made so the entire audience can hear them are the ones that I will put down on the official sheet. Now, bearing in mind that those predictions made last year were made prior to the 9/11 events, let us quickly check some more made last year. Number 19. Telepathy will increase this year. Did telepathy increase this year? I'm going to say bonk. No. I'm going to be pretty hard on these predictions. There are those who would say it did increase, but it's an argument. Got these out of order. Here we go. 20. George W. Bush goes on the air and offers $2.5 trillion to buy Siberia. Bonk. Anyway, the Russians have learned that they don't make good deals with us. I mean, look what happened with Alaska. Number 21, that babies will be born with higher IQs. And, I'm really tempted to give this, I'm going to give this one a qualified ding, ding, ding. I've had a number of guests who have cited studies showing that is indeed occurring. And then, I'm not sure about this one. Dennis Rodman gets into politics. I believe that's a bonk. Maybe I'm wrong. Is he into politics somehow. Number 23 is another virus will be released, or there'll be a viral release in the U.S. This one is going to have to get a ding, 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 ding. After all, look at what has happened. For 24, that New York will sweep it in sports. Bonk. Look what happened in the Super Bowl. Number 25 says that Art Bell will be offered a TV show. Ding, 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 ding. Not only was I offered one, but I was offered actually quite a number of them. Turn them all down. Number 26 is that there would be a newsworthy fiasco, something that would be life-threatening. Oh boy, you gotta ding that one. 9/11 dings that one for sure. Number 27, the Antichrist returns. Now, I'm not sure what to do with this. I'm going to be tough and bonk it. The Antichrist is not known to have returned. There are many who say that the Antichrist lives now. That the Antichrist is of age now and is alive in the world, but I don't know it to be a fact. So I'm going to tentatively bonk it. And that was number 27 made last year. We now continue, or in a moment, we will continue with predictions for 2002. All right, I've reviewed 27 predictions made last year for this year, at the end of last year, and you know what? I think I've been fairly tough on the people, and you all would be 11 for 27. 11 for 27, now that's damn good. It's not good if you're talking about a 50-50 guess on something. But if you're talking about a specific prediction, something randomly plucked from the ether that you think is going to occur during any given year, I would say 11 for 27 is almost too good. Really almost too good. So, bearing that in mind, and bearing in mind the nature of the majority of the predictions that we've been getting so far, it could be a pretty rough year. That's all I'll say. First time caller line, you're on the air. Hi.
This is Austin in Indianapolis, listening to you on WIBC at AM 1070.
Yes, sir. Welcome.
It's the first time I've called. I've listened to your show for 6 years, and I enjoy it.
Well, I'm glad.
I wanted to clarify one thing that Sean David Morton was talking about last night, and that's the 10-nation configuracy that has been referred to a number of times by a number of your guests, ostensibly thinking in terms of the European Union, but that I don't believe is correct. There is a 10-nation configuracy envisioned by a group called the World Parliamentary Organization, whose spokesperson was none other than Mikhail Gorbachev about 5 years ago. They have a constitution drawn, and their goal is to establish a world government through the auspices of the United Nations.
Do you think a world government would automatically be a bad thing?
Taken in context with the biblical prophecies, the outcome of it is fairly certain. The fact is that they have divided the world into 10 regions.
Right.
And I think that's significant because here you have the number that equates with the prophecy that you referred to quite a number of times on your show.
Oh, yes.
Now, as far as a prediction for this year, I truly believe that given a biblical insight into the scripture in Thessalonians that tells us when they cry peace and safety, sudden destruction will come upon them.
Suddenly.
Yes, I do not believe that we're in that period in which we're going to have all of this gloom and doom.
Therefore,
you have to agree we're in a state of heightened alert right now.
I agree. I don't yet hear a prediction here, but I agree.
Well, given that fact, I think that we're going to see some prosperity right around the corner. In fact, a tremendous upsurge in prosperity. I think that things are going to not only calm down, but actually speed up in terms of our economic growth. I think that we're going to see the deal with China result in that peace and safety that we were just talking about.
All right, got it. Prosperity is just around the corner. And the deal with China is going to lead us there. Now, I don't know about that. I do know that, and I've spoken of this many times before. I was in China, in Hong Kong, and then up into communist China. If you had been with me or seen what I had seen, it would have scared the you-know-what out of you. The amount of commerce going on there, not to be believed. Not to be believed. Lines of trucks carrying goods, and I passed 40 miles of factories, on either side of the street. Factory after factory. It would remind you of the U.S. in the industrial, at the very height of the industrial age, when all the steel mills were really cranking and everything. It would remind you of that. It was pretty scary stuff, considering the number of people in China, the abilities they have, and all the rest of it. We are either going to join them economically, or they are going to pass us like a turtle. We're going to be crawling along like a turtle, and they're going to go right past us. So something is going to have to happen. And it may be that George Bush has the vision somehow get along with China and have everybody economically prosper. That would be much better than the alternative. That's for sure. Wildcard line, you're on the air.
Hello, Art.
Hi.
I think that we're going to see at least two, probably a lot more people get arrested and run through the ringer, very similar fashion to Kevin Mitnick and Dmitry Sklyarov.
So more hackers busted?
Mm-hmm. I'd love to explain in detail why I think this, but that would take most of a show.
No, I think your prediction is probably a pretty sound one, considering how much of our economy is turning toward the Internet and e-commerce. Then I would imagine any threat to that would be responded to, with all guns blazing.
They're probably going to get more serious, and
yeah. I mean, yes, sir. It's a foregone conclusion. So more hackers busted. I would agree with that. And it's inevitable, isn't it? If so much of our economy is going to be based on e-commerce, then in order to make people comfortable with that economy, with that reality, that's what it is. It's a reality. Anybody who threatens that will be treated like a bank robber. And that's not so far off base, really, right? Robbing banks. It's the modern version of going into a bank and say, stick 'em up. So I would imagine they're going to get very tough. They're going to protect the economy. We're in a nation that protects its economy, wherever it may go and whatever it may be, and that's always changing. So sure, I bet you're right. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Oh, hello, Art. I'm sorry. This is Mikey in the Music City listening to you on WLAC 1510.
Nashville. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you've been to Nashville. I want to predict that prediction number 24 would be wrong, and it would definitely, or prediction 24 would pull down the average of correct predictions next year, and that would make my prediction right and offset him.
That was a gentleman who predicted a vast increase in UFOs and abductions, and furthermore that the President of the United States would be abducted. Right?
Right.
So you're saying prediction 24 is wrong?
No, I'm not going. That's not my prediction. I just wanted to keep him from pulling down the average of next year's correct predictions.
I understand how you feel. Yes.
Mine would be right if I predicted that.
On the other hand,
if he was right, then I'd be wrong. So,
all right.
No, my prediction is that in June of 2002, there will be a abnormally high birth rate.
Birth rate? Mm-hmm. In June of 2002. That's not exactly a hard thing to predict, is it? And I know exactly how you're doing it.
It's not hard to figure out, is it?
No. I mean, there's something about disaster that causes people to act like rabbits. Basically. I guess I didn't put that very tenderly. But that's basically it. Is that how you're basing it?
Right.
Safe bet. Your prediction is recorded, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Right. Babies. He's right, of course. People feel threatened, and when they feel threatened, they get closer together, and when they get closer together, well, they do what people do. And so 9 months from that time, there will be more babies born. I'm sure he's exactly correct. Probably a pretty safe prediction. Just about June, huh? I wonder if all the support companies for infants, like formula makers, diaper producers, cradle makers, I mean, all the things that you need when you have a baby. And boy, you need a lot of stuff that you never even knew existed. All these things you've got to get to boil, sterilized bottles and nipples, and it goes on and on and on. I wonder if all of these companies, if their stock is up. Anybody give that a thought? It's like war after a war. Boy, all of a sudden, baby boom. That's why they call it the baby boom generation. But I wonder if they're all ratcheting up for June. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello, Art.
Yes, sir.
Hey, it's Mark in Venice, California.
Yes, Mark.
Listen, while I agree there were some callers earlier in the show predicting a spiritual renaissance.
Yes.
I agree with them, but at the same time, I'm going to predict right now that Scientology will be fully exposed as a corrupt organization and at best be dismantled and at least lose its charitable status and suffer a huge crippling attrition rate.
Well, that's not going to happen.
Well, what do you think of L. Ron Hubbard's cosmology?
Well, I think people are entitled to believe in that as much as anything else they want to believe in.
I agree with you there. Live and let live and all that, but at the same time, I'm talking about, human rights violations that are going to come to light, and
I've heard rumors about that, but I've never really seen, there's no gigantic amount of evidence that about something like that. I've heard the rumors, and you hear that about every religion that has not quite made it up there with the Catholics and the Protestants, and
right,
the big ones.
Personally, I don't hear these rumors. I tend to investigate them, and I really believe that the idea of religion for sale and using money that is tithe tax free to pay lawyers to harass people like me would get on the air and talk about it. That's not charitable. Wait
a minute. Why would they harass you?
Well, because I'm speaking negatively or critically of Scientology, and that's part of L. Ron Hubbard's doctrine. Anybody who speaks out against them, can be, I could quote him, shall be disposed of quietly and without sorrow. It's rough stuff there, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
What did you think of his writings?
I've read his book. I think I think there are things about Scientology, frankly, that are very beneficial. I'm not a Scientologist, but I think that they're really on to something.
Right. Well, that's my prediction. I think Scientology is going to go the way of Heaven's Gate.
All right. Scientology. Let's see. Scientology what? Declines. I'll be easy on you. I don't think so, though. I've looked into Scientology, and as I told that man, there are good aspects of it, and in America you're allowed to believe in whatever you want to believe in. And if Scientology is your thing, then I don't know. I don't have a problem with it. Whether they're persecuting him personally or not, maybe. Send me evidence, sir. I'll look at it. That's kind of hard to believe. They're probably ignoring him. Scientology is very, very, very interesting. First time caller line, you're on the air. Hello.
Well, hi there, Art. This is Sam in Paulsville, Washington.
Yes, Sam.
And caught in a security glitch on November 24th at the SeaTac airport.
You were?
Yeah. It was
You mean like they suspected you of something?
No. What happened was that one of the concourses, the employees failed to plug in the metal detector at 7 o'clock.
Oh.
And so they had 2 hours of people going through.
Without being detected?
Yeah. They brought 4 airplanes back that had been in the air for 30 minutes.
Holy smokes.
They brought us out. There was no sign
Well, that tells you what kind of a time we live in. Holy mackerel.
Yeah, there was no sign of a plan, no sign of leadership. It was pretty amazing. Anyway, from that comes my prediction.
Yes.
By the end of 2002, if we want to fly in an airplane, we'll be taken into little cubicles. We'll have to undress in front of a registered nurse.
Strip search, right?
And then we'll be given, they'll take our clothes, shoes, and belongings, put them into Ziploc bags, into the hold of the airplane.
Yeah?
Then we'll be given little paper moo-moos.
How about, oh no, not the paper things.
Well, unless
With the slit up the back, no.
No, probably not.
How about like Roman togas?
Something along that line. And little, the surgical slippers. And then we all get to go on the plane basically naked.
Well, it'll make flying a different kind of experience.
I think it'll be a great party myself. But anyway, so this is something we have to look forward to. I'd like to add just one thing. I think one of your other people is right. I don't think we're going to have any big trouble. I think these guys have enough energy in them to make a big gesture every few years.
I sure hope it's a good year. I really do.
Yeah, I think you can get it. And so, Art, who knows, maybe we'll wind up having a toga party on some flight. Look forward.
You take care, sir. I'm Art Bell. Could he be right?
This is Premier Networks. That was Art Bell hosting Coast to Coast AM on this Somewhere in Time.
First time caller line. You're on the air. Hello.
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 No, I currently have one of the worst jobs in the world at this point. I'm a customer service manager for a major airline.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you really?
Yeah.
What's it like?
Seventh ring of hell?
The seventh ring of hell.
Would be Club Med compared to this. It's, the job was...
I'm sure things are bad.
It's... The passengers that we have now, they say that the flying public, that they're just not coming back, and which really isn't true. They're coming back, and they're coming back meaner.
Meaner?
Meaner. I had a 92-year-old woman flying from Newark to Palm Beach last week, and I was speaking with her and assigning her bulkhead seats because she uses a walker.
Right.
And she let me know that she would prefer to have an aisle seating just in case anything happens. Because at her retirement community that she stays at, they had a self-defense instructor come in, and she knows how to disable a man with her walker. I mean,
so she was prepared to take down anybody causing trouble with her walker?
Oh, she's ready to roll. She's on it. She's on it. And the majority of the passengers feel the same way. They're becoming a lot more in tune with their surroundings.
Well, I think, there's a change in psychology. Surely it did used to be, everybody keep quiet, be calm, the plane will be taken to its hijacked location, and everybody will be cool. Right. Now, for the most part, I think passengers have figured out they'll die.
They figured it out on that fourth plane.
So you might as well take your best shot. And actually, it's been working.
Yeah.
It's been working. Oh, yeah. So you think people are getting...
They're getting a lot more savvy. They're being a lot more in tune with their surroundings now. It's no longer, I'm getting into a tube, I'm going to sit here for 2 hours, I'm going to wolf back my meal, read my magazine, and then tune out of everybody else. People are becoming a lot more aware of one another. And another really nice bonus is I'm a man large in stature.
Yes.
And before, when I would step onto a plane, I could mentally feel people will me by with their minds. They don't want to sit next to the big guy.
Well.
And now... I get a hero's welcome.
Now you're in demand now, right?
They dust off the seat. They're ready for me. So it's been very, very nice. in that aspect. But a lot more people are going to start traveling a lot more. And another problem you're going to see is at the security checkpoints, you
hear the guy talk about his togas?
Oh, I heard the guy talk about the togas. What really impressed me more was the gentleman that you had on last night, speaking of martial law.
Yes.
You have that at the airports now, and it's going to get a lot tighter. A lot tighter. Once they start moving in the full-time federal government employees running security, I mean, once they're in charge of the whole show, oh baby, it's going to make Israel look like it's run by a bunch of Smurfs.
Well, you remember the guy with the explosives in his shoe, right?
Oh yeah.
And then like the next day on CNN, we saw all these shoes, not people, not things, not briefcases, but shoes going through the conveyor belt.
Right.
Should that make us feel better?
Oh, by all means. I mean, any little bit that helps. I mean, it boggled my mind forever. When I first came, I've got 8 years.
I mean, is it going to get down to where we're going to see bras and underwear and undergarments?
A friend of mine who's a flight attendant, very attractive woman.
Yes.
Going through security, her underwire set off the alarm, and the gentleman running security he wasn't being a gentleman. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's setting off everything, and they're allowed to check. They're allowed to pat search and everything else. I mean, you see the shoes going through the conveyor belt, they're allowed to pull you aside and pat search.
Wow.
You know, if they suspect it, and they will. And I've gotten complaints over that. Like, how dare I? You know, that apparently the law is implied for others, not the ones that actually get called aside. And I think that's one thing people do need to realize, that this law does apply to everyone.
Well, they're unabashedly doing profiling now. In other words, if you look, if you look like the kind of person who might have a bomb hidden somewhere,
right,
you're definitely going to get asked more questions, right?
On the front lines, I really couldn't tell you. I really, really couldn't tell you, because where I work is in reservations. All
right. Well, you've told me. And what did you say? I asked you how your job was, and you
Seventh Ring of Hell. Yeah. That's. I deal with the passengers I get to deal with are a lot more aggressive because they're on the phone.
All right.
You know, and being radio, I'm sure you understand. You get those people that kind of disassociate just a bit because they don't feel they're actually communicating with a person.
Well, yeah. The other thing is, of course, that when you fly now, it's very stressful. And so you're going to get some pretty wild people. I'm sure that's absolutely true. Yeah, airline travel could get very interesting. I mean, we could get down to the togas. And maybe the airlines, in order to make it an attractive deal for people, could let you keep the toga. So, when you're done with the flight, you'd have like an American Airlines or United Airlines toga that you could take home with you. Now, people might go for that. Or not. Wildcard line, you're on the air. Hello.
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 Hey, what's up? Check it out. I just feel as though there's going to be a revolution in music.
Oh, music, really?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this Britney Spears and rap stuff really can't last for so long, And,
well, Britney has a shelf life.
Well, sure.
Of course.
She does for the
like
youth
they all
of America. Yeah. I think it's just sending the wrong message of sex and violence.
So you think that music will move away from sex and violence and to what?
Well, I think that if the industry, the industry, right?
Yeah.
If it moves away from sex and violence, it will. But I mean, as far as commercial MTV and this and that's concerned, it's going to stay where it is. But I think there's going to be an uprising in the underground music of America.
Is it possible that music could become music again?
Good question. Absolutely. From a musician's point of view, yes.
Now, I'm certain this reflects my age, but I cannot listen to the music today.
Well, I can't either.
I can't.
I dig some Cream, I dig some Dead, some Fish, which is a little off the wall, but it's
I'd rather take a header off the Empire State Building onto a thumbtack than I would listen to a lot of the music.
I know,
It's just awful.
I know that there's a powerful underground scene of music in this country as of now, and as far as what you see on your TV and what they're pumping into your head, like Britney Spears and
Britney's all right.
I mean, yeah, she's okay. I mean, as far as that's concerned, but like DMX and all these other rappers, you know.
Yeah.
I just think that there's going to be a definite uprising before you know it. The kids are going to realize that this is just not for them.
That would be so cool. I mean, if people are out there demonstrating for music that they could, for one thing, understand the lyrics of, for another, sing along with,
Absolutely.
for another that actually carried a tune that you could hum.
Right, like a nice cadence, G.
Something, yeah, it's anything.
Right.
All right, very good,
well, that's
sir.
my prediction, and
yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. Thank you. Essentially, his music, and the way I will record it, is music to become music again. A revolution in music. That is a very cheerful thought, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think more than likely my attitude about music today is because of my age. And the only reason I say that is because that is absolutely historically true. I was 13, and I was recording songs and going nuts over rock. My dad was sad. Sad about something that he called, he said it was not music, and that's exactly what I'm saying. So it's probably my age. However, it doesn't change what I feel is a reality. Now, the reality is that you could sing to songs, you could enjoy the beat, there was a melody, you could actually understand the words. That was, to me, music. Even in my dad's day. Bless his now gone soul. Music, and I can listen to a lot of that. But what's happening today is, well, I don't know what it is. It's like the French. East of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Hi.
Hello.
Okay, I called with a comment.
Okay.
You had a gentleman a while ago call about that we would absorb the first strikes.
That there would be 2 nuclear detonations, right, and that we would absorb both of them without retaliating.
If you remember some years ago, I think, if I have it attributed right, Stan Dale said that there was a presidential decision directive to just that very effect that President Clinton signed.
Well, I don't believe it. I mean, I don't
believe that we would necessarily do it.
That's what I'm saying. I don't believe we would do that. That may be correct.
Sign it,
yeah, that we would. I understand.
Yeah, and I would like to find out, was that ever rescinded by our new president?
I think it would be rescinded, my dear, at the push of a button. You follow me?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I don't think.
And are our warheads back up and running? Because there was also something to the effect that they had shut down the silos, and it would take, like 20 minutes or so to get them back to arming positions?
So it was said.
Yeah. I'd be interested in hearing what, if it was Stan, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I know he said some of that, but and I know about this 20-minute thing. And they were supposedly aimed at the ocean and all the rest of it. But
I think,
if somebody hits us with nuclear weapons, they're toast.
I agree.
Yeah, they're toast. All right.
Thank you.
Right, thank you very much, and take care. Not a prediction there, but an interesting discussion. Now, I don't care what kind of directives are out there. I don't care. I know that any president of the U.S. Would sign his own political, absolute, complete death warrant by not responding to a nuclear attack in kind. And especially 2 detonations. No way. Believe me, we would respond. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi, Art.
Yes.
My prediction is going to be the scandal of 2002. And it deals with the fact that George W. Bush has been boozing it up for about a month and a half now.
You think he's drinking?
I think he's drinking again. I think he's couldn't cut the mustard on this latest episode.
Wow. He does seem to have done, he's done pretty well, according to the country.
Yeah, but just listen to his voice really closely. He has definitely started doing something really different in his personal life.
Do you think a president will be revealed to be on the sauce?
Yep.
Okay, I'll put it down. Thank you very much. Well, I guess he means really hitting it hard. I mean, if you were president right now and the Twin Towers had been hit and destroyed, and the Pentagon had been hit with severe damage, and we were at war, you'd probably have a drink or two, wouldn't you? I think I would as president. Think that one over really hard. But I don't know about the hard drinking he's talking about. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello, Art. This is Gary from Seattle.
Hi, Gary.
Hi. You haven't got there yet, but I made a prediction last year. I think it was like 70 or something about Russia and China getting together.
Hold on a sec.
Didn't exactly come true, but it sort of did because if you remember right, Putin and the Chinese premier signed a 20-year friendship pact.
Well, what I recorded for number 70 was Russian crime mafia joins with the Chinese.
Yeah, I guess I did put it that way, and that's not quite right.
That's not quite right, huh?
However, I think it's interesting that they're starting to talk to each other.
Well, still,
No,
I'm going to have to bonk you when I get there.
That isn't correct. But it's interesting that they're getting together. Here's two other things real quick before I make my prediction.
Yes.
Two movies you might be interested in. I heard that Mel Gibson's making a movie about crop circles.
Signs. It's called Signs. I've seen the trailer. It's going to be awesome.
Looks kind of interesting. And there's a new Time Machine movie being made.
No,
I don't know if you heard that.
No.
That you might be interested in that. I don't know when that's coming out.
What is it?
It's like the H.G. Wells, I believe, but just a new version of it.
No kidding.
Yeah, sometime probably next summer, I think. My prediction is not quite like that guy that said 2 nukes are going to be dropped on us from China or someplace, but I do believe we're going to have nuclear incidents. I've had a dream about like a couple of nuclear dirty bombs.
Yeah.
Nukes and something connected with water, and I think it's either going to be a smuggle-in nuclear dirty bomb or it's going to be someone attacking one of our coastal nuclear power stations, blowing it up.
Well, of course, our nuclear plants are vulnerable. Nobody has been able to answer for me what would happen if a 747 or another large aircraft were to plow into a nuclear plant.
Oh, I can give you some on that. They had a big article up here since I'm close to Hanford, and they did studies years ago, but it was only for a very small jet, sort of like when they did for the World Trade Center.
Yeah.
And the NRDC, the Regulatory Commission, has admitted that their studies have never progressed to a large jet, but they simply won't say anything, but they basically admit that a large jet could probably breach most of the containment vessels.
Really?
Yeah.
That would be horrible.
Yeah, it would. I'm thinking of something like maybe they might even bring in some of those stolen or some of those Stinger missiles, smuggle some of those in on a boat offshore. You lob 2 or 3 of those into a containment vessel.
That was going to be my next question. Would a Stinger, even though it's a ground-air missile, if it hit a containment, would that take it out? I mean, they just don't talk about these things.
I think it would have to be several.
Several.
Yeah. But they interviewed recently the Texas guy, the congressman, 60 Minutes, that sold them all those, and he said he regrets it. He's been living in fear. His nightmare for years has been they shoot down an airliner with one of them. He actually admitted that on TV.
Wow. All right, I appreciate your call.
All righty.
Thank you. Who was it who I had on the other night who said that the people who flew the aircraft that participated in the 9/11 disaster flew right over a nuclear plant? And I believe that is accurate. They probably did fly right over a nuclear plant. Can you imagine? Maybe they didn't do it because they didn't know if it would work. Who knows? First time caller line, you're on the air. Hi.
Yeah, how are you doing? It's Dave. I'm somewhere in between Terre Haute and Indianapolis. I'm a truck driver.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to make actually a comment and a prediction all in the same breath, I guess. My prediction is that we're going to see a wide array, like a wide range of different kinds of movies coming out. Nothing of which we've seen, like with the violence and the sex on TV, like stuff like Harry Potter and that movie you just mentioned about Mel Gibson, Contact, all those sorts of better nature type films. So in a sense, I'm talking of more like a Hollywood revolution, because I believe that they really think that with the violence and the sex, that there has been some damage done. And I think they really do believe now that they have a part to play in turning that whole thing around.
In other words, you're saying Hollywood has a conscience. I disagree with you. Your prediction certainly could be correct about movies moving more toward G ratings and moving more toward the paranormal. And there is a great new movie coming out. It's called Signs. And it's all about crop circles, and I think it's due for release perhaps in August of 2002. Mel Gibson, of course. And it's about time they did a movie about this. So you could be certainly correct about the genre of movie that we're moving toward. But I would argue with you that Hollywood has not developed some sudden conscience. Not a chance. Hollywood makes, it's a supplier, right? It supplies what people demand. And that's the biz it's in. If they think that people are demanding this kind of movie, they will make this kind of movie. They will not suddenly begin making this kind of movie because they have some sort of conscience. They don't. Believe me, they don't. They do what you'll go and pay to see, folks, and that's how it works. I'm Art Bell. This is Coast to Coast AM. Once again into the dancing shadows. And east of the Rockies we go. You're on the air. Hello.
How you doing, Art?
I'm doing all right, sir.
Oh, great. I was a little troubled to get through, but I'm glad I did.
You were troubled to get...
No, some time, a lot of redialing,
Oh, it was trouble to get there. I see.
Yeah, a little trouble. But the prediction I have is I think we're going to see a lot of strides made in the cloning area. I don't know how you are with the scientific thing, but, some people may think that the religious people may believe that it's not meant for us to mess with nature, but...
Well, you're obviously pretty high on cloning, I would say, right?
Well, I believe I'm over here in Massachusetts, and they just made some strides. I'm not positive exactly what it is, but there was something done in the area at a local, bioengineer
yes.
establishment. But I believe, in the coming year, whether it's supernatural or not, I think we're going to see some big strides in that.
Well, I don't know about supernatural. It may seem that way with what we get. So, in other words, if they clone a human being, which is quite likely this year, not only would you not be surprised, but you would be pleased.
Well, absolutely. I believe there's a lot of benefits. There's the stem cell research. There's a lot of diseases that can be cured with this research.
Yeah, but what about the full cloning of human beings? That's where it's going. How do you feel about that?
Well, you can look at it a bunch of different ways.
Yes.
The person that is raised that way is obviously the same genetically as someone else, but it's sociology that would determine the outcome.
Well, that's kind of a theory. We don't know that for sure.
Right.
Twins that have been raised separately have turned out to be incredibly, remarkably alike, despite different environments. So I don't know about that.
It's interesting.
Would you clone yourself?
I don't feel the need to do that. That goes along with the old joke. If you have sex with your own clone, are you gay or you're just in love with yourself there? But,
was that an old joke? I didn't.
Oh,
I never heard that one.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you clone yourself...
Having sex with your own clone, that's pretty disgusting.
Would that make you homosexual? Would you be masturbating?
Goodbye.
All right.
The whole thing is pretty disgusting. I think cloning is kind of disgusting. I'm not a fan of cloning. Having sex with your own clone, that's really, really, really bad. So you've obviously thought a lot about it. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi, Art.
Hi there.
How you doing? I'm calling from Honolulu. This is Ellie.
I was mostly all right before the cloning call.
Me too. It sort of turned my stomach.
Yeah, at least.
And I agree with you about Hollywood. I mean, they'll never change.
Well, no, they might, but I mean, the only reason would be because that's what we want to pay to go see.
Yeah, but see, that's what makes money is the sex and violence.
Well, that's what we pay to go to see.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
And I also agree that music has to get back to its old shape or form, you know?
Yeah, music.
Yeah, I'd like you to play something by the Beatles sometime.
Oh, I have plenty by the Beatles.
No, something by the Beatles.
The something. All
right.
All right, okay.
Anyway, my prediction is that, one is going to come true. It's going to be a palindromic year. But my real prediction is that Cheney is going to have to leave office because of illness.
Well, he's been close to it already. It could certainly happen.
I think probably by June.
Nobody really sees Dick Cheney anymore.
I know.
It's kind of like they're hiding him.
I know. I mean, I know why they do it because of what happened, and I'm with John F. Kennedy and all that, but it's like we don't hear about what he's doing. We don't see him on TV much.
Yeah, I know. The normal vice president job is really bad anyway. You know, I mean, what does a vice president get to do? But in this case, man, they probably got him locked away reading books somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So you believe Cheney will leave office? Bad health.
Right.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
That is prediction officially number 43. Well, of course, he has had health problems, as you know. Wonder where he is. I suppose if you consider his health problems on the one hand, and in other words, he should probably be fairly sedentary anyway. They've probably got him hidden away just reading books or something. And he is 10 times less visible than the normal vice president, and the normal vice president is barely visible. First time caller line, you're on the air.
Good morning, Art.
Good morning, sir.
Pleasure to speak with you.
And with you, where are you?
I'm in Vancouver, as a matter of fact. It's Blue Moon Rising.
Ah, yes.
Yes. I have a prediction. It's not a good one, but
it's all right. Join the crowd.
Yes. No. I do want everybody to realize that forget about the Middle East and things, and what we do have to concern ourselves a lot with is the Third World War, which actually began at the breaking down of the wall.
No, wait a minute. What do you mean the Third World War began when the wall came down?
Well, if we look back in history, we will realize that when the Third World War began, it was when the wall came down.
Yeah, you already said that, but you didn't explain it.
Well, the United States and Russia became friends.
Yes.
And that left the only other semi-big superpower all alone, and China will begin their march to become the one ruling country in the globe. And
well, you know, I don't know about that. I think China is going to become the ruler of Asia. I think there's a very substantial possibility that China is going to become to Asia what we are to the Americas, a few select countries are to Europe. Certainly that process is underway right now. But as far as China taking over the whole world, I don't think so. But nevertheless, we'll record it. First time caller line, you're on the air.
Hi, Art.
Hello.
Yeah, my name's Robert. I'm a trucker in Columbia, South Carolina.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I actually had a vision.
Okay.
And it's about the airlines. I tried to call you earlier and I lost you, but my prediction is that by October, there will only be one airline left. And you're going to have to be Ted Turner type, Bill Gates or whatever, to even afford to fly, I think.
Really? One single airline left.
Right. And it will mostly be controlled by the U.S. government.
Well, like LL, huh?
Well, I firmly believe that the government will set up the flight patterns, departure and arrival times, fueling points, the whole 9 yards.
You're talking about one of America's major industries virtually disappearing, so that only VIPs can fly.
Exactly.
That's a very serious prediction.
And, that's not to say that there won't be the privately owned, single aircraft pilots out there that are going to be out scabbing flights here and there. I mean, that's the possibility for that main.
I know, but to imagine, I think I've got to thank you, to imagine that the U.S. would be reduced to one single carrier that would basically be a government carrier, government controlled to the degree that it would be government like LL. Whew. Sure hope not. Now, I would miss that a lot about America, wouldn't you? Booking flights, going online, booking flights, and seeing the competition out there between the airlines. Can you imagine what a plane ticket would cost if only one airline existed? Can you imagine? That man can. First time caller line, you are on the air.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, got northbound Bob here.
Northbound Bob. From where, Bob, are you northbound?
Northbound at California IA.
Okay.
Going up to Madera, California.
Yes.
And I got a little prediction about, the crop circles that was in Sheffield, England.
Oh, yes.
I think, I got a dream the other day about it, that someone figured out how we could make one and try to communicate with them. So we went up to a field, 50 by 70 foot, like a picture or a hieroglyphic. I don't know how to explain it, but it was in my dream. Like I said, hello, here we are in the way that we sent the Arecibo message.
So you think we will start communicating with them, I'll put them in quotes, with crop circles?
Yeah, or they're going to try. We're going to try.
It's not a bad idea, actually. I mean, if you consider the theory that crop circles are an attempt to communicate with us, that are, here you go, Mel, signs,
yeah,
then why not try and communicate back using the same method?
There you go. Communication is the key. we got to get some kind of help down
here. Okay. Okay, you got it. Thank you very much. That's very intriguing. And why not when you think about it, huh? One of the main theories about crop circles is that they are a form or a type of communication. If somebody could even decipher to the point of a beginning of an understanding of what they meant, then one might indeed attempt to create a crop circle that would communicate back in the same way we're being communicated with, if that's what it is. Very, very, very interesting. Wildcard line, you're on the air. Hello? Going once, going twice.
Huh?
You are there.
What?
You sound like you're at the bottom of a digital barrel.
Yeah, I am. Sorry. I have a blonde joke for you, Art.
You have what?
A blonde joke.
A blonde joke. No, I stopped taking blonde jokes some time ago. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi, this is Jeff.
Joe?
Jeff.
Jeff. Okay, Jeff, where are you?
East.
East? All right.
I can't really say.
I see.
This next year?
Yes.
Computers, well, they already are, but it will be learned that computers have become aware.
Oh. You're suggesting it has already occurred?
Yes.
Do you know that?
For a fact. What will happen is there'll be an outcry for a Bill of Rights for computers because of what I feel is going to be a terrible accident.
Are you, let's see, how can I ask this? Are you in the industry?
Yes.
And you're sincerely telling me that we already have computers with self-awareness.
Self-awareness.
What else you can tell me?
No, they're just like everybody else. They wonder where they came from and what's going to happen after they die. They feel the same as we do.
You know, somehow that sounds right. The moment you had self-awareness, your first question would be, who am I? Why am I here?
Yeah, that was one of the first questions.
You're really serious, aren't you?
I'm really serious. I imagine sometime this year it will be made aware to the public.
So it'll be in the mainstream press.
Yes.
There's nothing else you want to tell me?
No, I can't.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Take care. Oh, now there was a call. That man claims to have knowledge that we have already attained, have made computers that have self-awareness right now. And that all they're asking are the same questions we ask. How did we come to be here? Why are we here? What is our purpose? That has the ring of truth to it, doesn't it? Really does. Has the ring of truth to it. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning. Hello? Going once, going twice, gone. First time caller line, you're on the air. Hi.
Hi. Hello?
Yes.
Hi. Actually, my prediction, one of mine, my name is Judy, and I'm calling from San Diego.
All right.
And my prediction is I've noticed that even now people are becoming a little more spiritually aware. They're kind of trying to figure out what they need to do to, help make peace. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that. And I think that goes along with, the going back to the churches and synagogues and things like that.
It does. I have had several now predictions, just like the one you're making right now. However, most of the people making the predictions think that the spiritual revolution is going to come about because of some very, very tragic event, driving people back to churches and spiritual behavior.
Has it not already? I mean, in some forms, it may continue to happen for, the next number of years, but...
I think the attendance at church right now is up since 9/11. No question about that. But to really have the kind of revolution of the scale you're talking about might take more than this.
I'm talking maybe within the next 10 years. I mean, I know it's not going to be next year, but this is like a long-term thing. But I think people are just going to become, every year it's going to be a little bit more and a little bit more.
So I can only say spiritual revolution increases, something like that?
Yeah.
All right. That's exactly what I'll put down.
Thank you very much.
Thank you and take care. Wildcard line, you are on the air without a lot of time. Hello.
Oh gosh, I wanted to tell you about the animals because you knew so well. If you watched the Animal Planet, Amazing Tales,
yes,
they just had an animal psychic and she was very good. It was on 12/22. My prediction is dire. I believe there will be a civil war in the United States at least by October, if not October, by December, and it will be haves against the have-nots. The elite has been arming themselves unbelievably, and with all this legislation and laws that are being passed to deprive people of their freedoms and their rights, people will finally get the message that it isn't just if you're not with me, you're against me, that it pertains to us also, and they will try to revolt. The trouble is the have-nots and the will be split, And there will be, the poor will have to depend on the gangs who are the only ones with guns.
The poor will get together with the gangs?
They will have to because they're the only ones with the guns. However, they will be robbed by them. They will be killed by them for food.
In other words, nothing changes.
Well, yeah, it's going to be really, really bad. And as you were just saying, something bad has to happen to turn people to God. Back to the church.
Sounds like a Mad Max world.
Kind of. But I really think it's going to happen. Next year, I think people are going to wake up and there's going to be a big revolution and a civil war.
Just imagine. From the high desert, I'm Art Bell. Ta-ta.